Very Craigalicious.
Hey, Craig. So last time on Dressed Bones, in fact, the last couple times on Well Dressed Bones, our players, the former detectives, had spent 2 years apart working on their own things, their own lives, getting back to things they wanted to do that didn't have to do with uh, saving the sanctuary and therefore the world. Um, but they were brought back together when Fish, who has gotten much closer with their dad, had that access threatened by the calling in of an old favor. And so Fish went to visit their friends to beg for their company on a trip to Korea to explore the goings on of a god uh, who had disappeared and needed to be hunted down and potentially rescued in some way. Um, this led to a whole thing where uh, led by Fish and starting the others, eventually had to sneak into North Korea in order to try to find where this god had gone, as well as potentially rescue the brother of a friend they had made while there. Um, and along the way, learned about some mysteries, some larger goings on that had been happening and were now coming to a head uh, during their 2 years off. Um, the most important of which is that it seems like a organization, group, thing of legend may be coming back. A thing known as the Triumvirate to Necromancers, a supposedly theoretical kind of version of the devil for necromancy, representing the ways in which necromancy can be selfish and can go wrong. The emphasis on trying to make yourself immortal rather than try to help all of humanity in a especially and actually all necromancers become immortal. Um, but some symbols and signs and the names started being passed around of these old legends, as if, to give a modern context, somebody had just started calling themselves the actual literal devil and going to places. Just a very strange thing to appear. And the Triumvirate, as to its name, has three people, beings, aspects that represent these evils. And one of these aspects has started showing up in Korea while searching for Jonas and any influence he may be having on the wider world. The group found his name associated with a Chinese pharmaceutical company. Um, that also seems to potentially be tied with the triumvirate of body known as the Abomination, um, symbolized by an aspect of the moon. Um, and whether that is, if there's any truth to the legend, or whether, perhaps Jonas is using the legend for his own goals, or somebody is just using Jonas's name and is aware of him and therefore may be a new path forward in hunting him down, have led our heroes to head to China for a very important auction. At the same time, there has been a new organization, sort of a secret society specializing in ancient Egyptian mysticism, named the Maharu, that has been taking over, especially Western. Circles of the political elite, and is May's nemesis because they really get a lot of things about ancient Egypt wrong in a way that pisses off actual Egyptologists. But they've also come to dominate May's field, so she is able to avoid them less and less. And in North Korea, on discovering that this god they'd been hunting had been killed or at least mostly destroyed, a piece of it flying out somewhere over the sea to the east, was covered in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Maybe the work of the Maharu itself, maybe something more sinister going on. And the third potential villain, potential thing happening in the background is some strangeness happening with the realm of death and necromancers generally. uh, Death has been a little strange and growing stranger in the past 2 years. Fish learned before this current adventure that a number of gods had actually disappeared, all of them, including the one they had been hunting, associated with death and rebirth, uh, who may have been captured and destroyed, and also a strange wolf-like creature that is potentially the same as, or maybe just accompanying, a strange tall hooded figure has been seen worldwide, threatening, attacking, and killing necromancers as well as other groups that use necromancer equivalent magic. Asian mages that use death magic and things like that are not part of the necromantic faith in that way. Um, and associated with this wolf like creature has been another sign of the triumvirate, uh, name that you don't know, but the sign of the stars. The pharmaceutical company, which May had looked into hunting for Jonas, is seemingly one of the only private, or at least semi-private, corporations existing right now in what is very freshly revolutionary communist China, seemingly because of very close ties to the party and maybe the influence of Jonas. In researching them, May found that there is a charity auction to raise funds for the central government. The Cultural Revolution is just on its uh, tail end, its downswing, a lot of famine that is getting pushed through, and Chinese government really needs money, and so is auctioning off some of its antiquities, hopefully to the West, in order to bring in fresh capital at a time when, because of the Cultural Revolution, the West is very unfriendly to the Communist Party and China generally. May, looking at this auction, found what seems to be a object made by the ancients, one that reminds her of Mordital's ampule, the incredibly dangerous ancient's weapon used by the benefactor in season one, and the things that May has been hunting ever since to keep out of the hands of potentially dangerous people. In traveling to China, the southern China specifically, the auction being held in Guangzhou. Um, our party flew into Hong Kong, where, because of May's connections and very persuasive dealings with the Canadian and English sanctuaries, has gotten a certain amount of support and funding to try and make this auction happen. But unfortunately, has been told that the auction is closed to new buyers and needs the patronage of someone else local to get in and potentially recover this. Uh, Very potentially very dangerous object. Um, when meeting with a local equivalent of the sanctuary, the Heavenly House of the Ram, the party was told that there was an issue that they could help with in their capacity as former investigators. A local hospital that was acting as both a mortal and magical hospital, and that by coincidence is currently owned and controlled by the pharmaceutical company that they are hunting, Baiutsu Pharmaceutical. Um, has been experiencing some weird attacks. Patients attacked in their beds, in their hospital rooms, in locked rooms, being clawed and slashed and bitten um, by mysterious, unseen. enemies, as well as an amount of blood from the blood bank being stolen. It seems that this hospital, specifically as part of its capacity as a sorceress hospital, keeps an amount of sorceress blood on hand for healing and magical purposes, and finding out that although all of this evidence screams vampire, there is, in fact, a vampire that works at this hospital, although vampire is not perhaps the most appropriate term, uh, operating as both a source of power for and a healer for the local magical community, and that due to a tense political situation, this hospital being too important and this vampire person being too powerful, is shared between the Heavenly House of the Ram and other local sanctuaries, essentially, meaning that as outsiders, our party is uniquely qualified to be able to investigate and see what the hell is happening. Um, as you finished up your meeting with Yang Junyi, the agent of the House of the Ram, who was sent to you to help get you started on this potential mission, um, he outlined specific issues regarding these attacks. The hospital has been mostly closed, with essentially the emergency department being the only thing that's still open and where all of the long term patients are being held. A small island of functioning hospital in an otherwise closed zone of strange creature attacks. And yeah, as we open now, everybody has the opportunity. There's a lot of things you can do. You can explore the hospital. You've been told that the attacks have only happened at night, so hunting the actual creature would probably have to happen after dark, but you can certainly get the lay of the land, maybe talk to some people. You are given files based on seemingly the initial investigation done by the House of the Ram, their internal person who can't handle it anymore, with descriptions of the attacks and eyewitness testimony. You could also, although the auction is not happening yet, try and bargain your way into, trying to get an eye on the stuff that is going to be for sale. Maybe act as a consultant or expert to validate this magical artifact and know what it is, or perhaps try to investigate where it came from. What dig dug it up, if there's more, or just explore the area, establish your roots in Hong Kong, and figure out what you're going to do. As um, you all step out of the heavenly house, and you can start to hear some of the sounds of the city outside the walls of this compound. Um, Maze is flipping through the paperwork that has been given. Cal knows some things about kind of this type of vampire due to her research. This gets confused with other actual undead types of vampires, so Cal had to learn about it in her undead training, but perhaps has not shared that with May yet, does not want to share that in front of others. Um, Also, I will say that because May had comprehend languages still active, that's active for about another half hour or so. And comprehended languages is very interesting because it does give you literal translations instead of contextual translations. Um, we call the doctor, the being who is running the magical wing of this hospital, a vampire. That's a good enough term, but not literally true. the more literal translation of what of the name that you are given is essentially one who siphons, which is like that is vampire adjacent enough that that's a good enough term, but obviously does not capture entirely what's going on, and even you're not sure, entirely what's going on because that's a literal translation rather than a contextual one. And as you are leaving, accompanied by your minder as well as Agent Temerity, who is running the English Sanctuary outpost in Hong Kong, helping to translate for you. Um, um, Mr. Genyi tells you that the vampire has actually been missing um, since a little bit before the attacks. Um, I realize people have not seen him. Unfortunately, going to his home is something that requires a little bit of political consideration. He is not, you know, controlled by the House of the Ram. It's a community thing. It's a joint thing, and his home is obviously a private place. So there is political discussions about, well, we need at least one representative of each of the houses that have a stake in the hospital to visit at once, so nobody else is responsible. It's something that's happening, that's in the works, but you know that nobody has seen him in a little while. Do you have any kind of last questions for Jinyi as you are all walking out, stepping out onto the veranda of this house in the compound?
Um, yeah, May will ask him for the contact details, maybe, of who she could speak to about getting a cheeky look at the antiquities. And also, if he can send, if he can give them the private address for the one who siphons. And her logic is, yeah,
Yeah.
well, we'll have to do a welfare check, and if the door happens to be open, then of course we've got to go in.
Um,
Also, we're
He-
completely unrelated to the
Exactly.
Yeah,
house.
no, absolutely. I mean, it happens all the time. We go to someone's house and we're like, "Do you smell smoke?" "I smell smoke." And then we kick the door in and
Yeah.
we find out if someone's home. Just like the cops.
I mean, and May does have magic that lets her make the smell of smoke, so it's very, it's all above board.
Yeah, it really works out. We don't actually need a warrant.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
He absolutely does not give you the address. It is too much of a kind of
That's fair.
secret, but he does say he can keep you apprised of the situation with that if you think it would be relevant to the investigation. He does say that it's local. It's somewhere in the greater metropolitan area,
Mm,
but he's working out the politics of it.
mm,
He basically says, I can't promise anything, but I may be able to like get you invited to the group that's gonna go check. You're definitely not going alone unsupervised.
well, that's what he
And
thinks.
yeah, that's what he thinks. And as for the artifacts, you get a contact number. It's not a like direct line, and it's not necessarily someone who's like, yeah, no, come along in, but you can absolutely try to start the process of getting access. You know where the auction is going to be held. You don't necessarily know where the objects are being stored, but
Mm.
you have a phone number where maybe you can start figuring that out if you are going to do another break-in to take a look
I
at
know what
them.
you're talking about. How long until it's nighttime?
It's kind of late afternoon at this point. It's getting to be
Okay.
like actually more like mid-afternoon. It's like 3 or so. So you do have some time before night if you want to explore or do some things there. But if you're just like, we'll catch a meal, we'll familiarize ourselves with the area, and then we'll swing back at night. That's not too far away either. especially because it is winter, and so it gets dark earlier.
So my thought, guys, was that maybe we go to the hospital during the day so we can actually get a sense of it before we're running
Lay of
through
the
it at
land.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And identify places that are going to be
Hidey holes.
potentially. Yeah. Yes. No. So
Fish
we're on.
sneaks out some sexy help.
Find
Well,
a
is
nurse
Temerity
uniform.
coming along?
Temerity is probably busy.
Okay.
He has functionally a city-state to run. So, yeah.
All the more reason to get laid.
If Fish wants to seduce him, that's probably going to be in his office at home. It's not going to be out and about running magical errands.
Okay, so
Yeah,
while
I'm gonna have to fuck him on the desk.
yeah, it'll happen. While getting the lay of the land of the hospital and figuring out all of that, Fish is also going to be thinking of the tactic to approach that.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't seem like. Give me an insight check, actually, of hanging out with him so far.
Cool. Is he hot?
Is he hot in his soul? That's why it's an inside check.
14.
14. Okay. I think he looks pretty cute. He's a little bit kind of that rough and tumble, not quite as busted as Sinner, but definitely that face of someone who has maybe been in a few fights and can stand his own. You sense a little bit of vulnerability there, though, that maybe you could exploit, and you get the sense that he's not a workaholic by any means. He just has so many responsibilities, he kind of has to be buried under the avalanche of them in order to occasionally be able to take a breath. So it's not like you're gonna have to seduce him necessarily in his office because he's never taking a break the way you would have to for Cal in her current position, but you are competing with his work a little bit for attention.
They dig that.
And you can see with a 14 that he did start checking his watch midway through this meeting about being it is getting later than I thought it would be. I have so much to do. He's probably gonna ask if you want a ride back to Hong Kong, and if you're like, no, we're gonna stay here for a while, he's like, cool, I'm heading off. He's kind of imminently looking for a out. And I think that while you all are asking questions about the mission, and Fish is focusing on Agent Temerity. Temerity kind of looking for an out, looking around, means that he is the first one to notice as you're stepping out onto this porch, into the greater compound. He's looking around and he sees something. And you all have high enough passive perception, and especially Fish, focusing on him in this way, can kind of see oh, something's caught his attention, turn and look, and see some figures walking across across the compound. A woman looks Chinese, perhaps, maybe a member of the house, as most people are here, handing over some documents to a couple that are walking towards you. And clearly Temerity recognizes them, and so does May, as Cece Cole, Miss Couleur, and her long-suffering assistant, Mr. George, is walking across the compound, looking at some paperwork and discussing things. Or rather, Couleur is looking at the paperwork and talking, and Mr. George looks like he's dissociating and would rather be anywhere else.
Dead?
They are, yeah, no, he's a little too far away to do an insight check, but yeah, general body posture of wanting to walk in front of traffic. They're kind of walking towards you. Doesn't seem like they've noticed you yet, but you notice them. Wonder what she's doing here.
May's gonna go straight up to her. Hey girl, hey, what is that? What is surprised to see you here?
I re-listened to my recording of Couleur, realized I lost her British accent like 30 seconds into talking as her. Did not have it at all, so she might sound a little different this time.
Sorry, so is it Cole or Couleur that she should be referring to as?
Her mortal name is
Okay.
Cece Cole, Miss Cole, from
That's what I
the
thought. Cool.
and is works in the Department of Cultural Exchange, getting antiquities for the British Museum and doing trades with other nations. As you know, kind of given the grunt work to travel and do a bunch of stuff that other people don't want to do, which she seems to really enjoy. But her sorceress name is Couleur, and you recall that while she does have magic and is technically a sorcerer, she functionally has to work as a mortal because her magic is, by her own accounts, pretty shit. A very minor talent for illusion magic that she has to heavily supplement with symbol tattoos. But as you come up to her and say, "Hey, girl, hey," she kind of like startles up from her papers and goes, "Miss Gladly! Oh, what are you doing here? Oh my goodness!" And she runs up. She doesn't like give you a hug, but she kind of like goes for it and then like stops. If you open the arms, she jumps in. It's absolutely like she was going to hug you and then realized you're functionally strangers.
Swings her around and says, "What are you doing in China?"
Oh, there is this wonderful big auction that is happening locally, and they're looking for some new pieces for the museum, and I've come on behalf of the government in order to purchase some new things, and I was just talking to the locals here, and just kind of like turns and looks, and Mr. George is kind of like not approached. It's just kind of dissociating in the background. But it checks that he's not close enough to listen, and it's like, and these people here, I understand they're kind of like a sanctuary type thing. We are arranging sort of what's important to who. It's sometimes when there is auctions of this type or competition, it's important to sort of pre-plan dealings in various ways. So saying like, oh, our government kind of wants more of this piece, well, you kind of want more of this piece. We're not going to directly compete with each other, or if we don't challenge you on this piece and you win, would you be willing to trade it to us as part of a antiquities exchange for a 2-year period? It's important to establish these things just sort of in the beginning. What on earth are you doing here? I was so sad to hear that you had to leave Sudan. You had some personal business, but I got to say goodbye to the lovely chap with the big muscles. Who is always with the prime minister, and I know you and him were close in some way, and I spent some time in Egypt, and oh my goodness, so your wonderful tattoos, and we talked about it last time, and so I was in Egypt, and she starts like pulling up her shirt just a little bit and like pulling the waistband like ever so slightly, and Mr. George instantly with the aspect of someone who has done this, has had to do this more than once now, just like steps forward to like block with his body and like the folder of paper so like people can't see her like very mildly strip, and she just exposes a little piece of hip that she peels a bandage back, and you see a very fresh kind of Eye of Ra tattoo.
I was gonna say.
That's very, very small. Um, it is, in May's professional tattoo opinion, and also probably Fish's, since Fish is close enough to see too.
Fish has done something. But I'll tell you what it is once you're done describing.
It's clearly a fresh tattoo. By her own account, it's about a month old now. It's a little too red and a little too rough to be healing properly after a month. She's pretty clearly been pulling off the bandage to show a lot of people, which you're not supposed to do.
And she's not keeping the second skin on.
She's not keeping the second skin on. And I think May's experience with Egypt is they don't really have a tattooing culture. There is most tattoos you can get in Egypt are Western tattooers that just happen to be there. Egyptians don't really have any type of tattoo culture there. And knowing the kind of people who just kind of offer tattoos for sale in dirty little shops in back alleys, you look at this and go, well, it's not infected, so at least that's a good thing. But yes, she's very excited to show you her new tattoo, seemingly inspired by her trip to Sudan and Egypt, but also a little bit inspired by you and your very cool tattoos.
I love this
that you were
bitch.
admiring before.
Hopefully
we don't have to kill her later. That could be a problem.
And
sorry, go on.
And yeah, she's like, she kind of asks you like, oh, where'd you go? What were you doing? And then like immediately rolls over it into being like, I got this really cool tattoo. You want to see?
Meg is like, darling, that looks gorgeous. I'm so flattered. Wouldn't you know it? I'm here for the same thing on behalf of the English Sanctuary. I hope we're not competing against each other.
Oh, the sanctuary. That's. Oh, Mr. George, if you wouldn't mind stepping back just a moment. He kind of like, yeah, and kind of like looks pointedly at her still holding the tattoo up, and she goes, oh, right. Like puts the shirt down so he could step away and not be like blocking her modesty. Once again, he doesn't like working for her. He doesn't like being like 30 years her senior and being junior to her. But whatever. But he is also, according to Sinner's report, fully mortal. So
sorry, it wouldn't have been like loudly. Okay, rephrase. Should have been like, by my organization in England. Very pointed.
Miss Cole does not seem to care enough about like maintaining the secret.
Yeah, she still said, "Oh, the sanctuary."
Yeah,
she probably went, "Oh, the sanctuary." Mr. George, can you step away for a minute? Yeah, not necessarily the most trustworthy with secrets person that you can that you could think of. But as soon as he steps away, she kind of leans in and whispers a little bit. I heard that there was a magical item here that that the English Sanctuary was interested in, and something about maybe another sanctuary, and you're here for that?
Oh, I might be, Miss Kalua.
Oh.
Nudge.
I was talking to you've already met. That's Mr. Temerity. He's oh, well, you know who he is. We already had a chat. He called me, and I am not going to compete with you for the item. I got the lot numbers. I know that's not really antiquities. We're interested in, but we might have gotten it sort of as curiosities. But I heard that they're like maybe dangerous or something. So that's all you. But yes, I'm very excited. Maybe that means we could spend some time together. We could get some lunch. Perhaps we could. Oh, I don't know. We could chat, and I'll see you at the auction. So maybe we could come together, and yes, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely, yes. I'm busy for the rest of the day, but you can reach me by Mr. Smith as well. I'm just watching it. I want to roll insight when she's talking about the. We'll leave it to you.
Yeah,
I wanna see
go
how
ahead and give
Ginge
me an
is.
insight check,
Yeah.
and then I also want to know what Fish and Cal were doing as this stranger runs up and hugs May.
Up to a good start, lads.
so-
That's a 19.
Okay.
Oh, very nice.
With
They know.
a 19, she is like you get like excitement and electricity and energy from her, and you're like, she is so excited to be part of a secret that is important for the British sanctuary. She knows no details, and it's kind of killing her, but also it's probably a good thing because she seems like maybe a little bit of a gossip. But
Yeah.
she is very excited to be like. She feels like a spy. She feels like she's on a secret
Aw.
mission to help the sanctuary, and is really glad to be included. A 19 is also. I think we'll extend the insight to Mr. George as well.
Go on.
Miss Cole is on another adventure. You don't necessarily get the sense this is the first time she's been to China, but it is definitely like fun, adventure, new, exciting, meet new people, do a good job. And Mr. George is like, I would rather be anywhere but here. The Chinese hate the British. They're gonna fucking kidnap and kill me. And I think once again you get that dynamic of being like, Kollur is having such a wonderful time, and she got sent here because this is bitch work that her department that she works for was not willing to risk someone they actually care about getting like kidnapped by the communists or something and come here. This is an incredibly dangerous mission to her in a way that she does not seemingly recognize in any way, and she is once again kind of being used expendably, which Mr. George is aware of and she isn't. But also, she probably wouldn't care if she does know. She probably wouldn't care if she did know, because she's having fun.
Yeah. I love this fish. I am so worried, like, fucking 3 arcs later, we're going to find out she has been playing the most incredible long con that we could ever have thought. Anyway.
Oh,
Don't
well,
worry,
even
Allie.
more.
Cal is immediately suspicious of anybody who attracts her friend's attention and affection, so she's gonna be like,
No, absolutely true. Cal is always on the watch. I will say, sort of in a meta way, out of game, that Cece is a little bit of me wanting to have a metal-like character without kind of bringing metal out of the storyline she's currently in.
so she is
yeah.
evil.
Maybe. Maybe
Okay,
she's.
so it brings up an ancient philosophical debate of like which is worse, active hostility or ignorance.
Maybe metal represents the evil inherent in being rich, and Kollur represents the evil inherent in working for the British Museum.
I'm just
Thinking of it.
dumb.
I'm thinking about that Gravity Falls quote of being like, Pacifica's rich. She's cheating at life.
Yeah, she's cheating at life.
Oh, bless.
Okay, backfill for what Fish is doing.
Mhm.
To really prove that they were serious, that it was going to be serious business when they said that they'll keep Kollur distracted. They've like settled back into faux sinner Mr. Perch, and like in fact, I'd even like to do a stealth roll because you said that they didn't even like notice the gang to begin with until like May approached first.
In a very student focusing on homework way, it was like walking with a face in paper without looking up, like being on your phone level of not paying attention. So I probably now realize Fish is there, but absolutely do a stealth check to be like, I don't want to be the focus of attention.
Like I'm standing back and not being important.
Mhm.
But very much keeping an eye on the situation. Stealth 7, cool. It doesn't matter.
Let me do a quick perception check for her against that stealth. I have her stat block somewhere.
All right, but and then when she dismisses
you're muted,
George,
honey, you're muted.
Patrick going, like she isn't like plus 19.
when she dismisses George, Fish like does a similar thing, like, you know, nudges Cal and goes, yeah, you know, Miss Dennis, how about you step aside as well? Implying that she's also mortal and to fuck off.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Agent Temerity is kind of standing there, like, looking at you all like, I'm sorry, you're not all sorcerers? What?
Yeah, at that, Cal would kind of give Fish a look and then go, that's a kind offer, but I'll stay.
If you're very sure, Miss Dennis. I am only looking out for your best interests and your safety.
Hot, a stimmering lid when it starts like dancing because it's trying to get off the pot so badly.
She rolled a 12 on her perception check, so normally she would just be like, oh, somebody else is here. These are May's friends. But unfortunately, there is one thing about Fish that means that because she can see and notice you, it will derail the conversation and bring you into it. Which is, as you're talking, I think with that insight check, May sees the moment Miss Cole notices Fish and goes, moves around May, says, excuse me, runs up to Fish, goes like she's going to, like, pinch his cheeks or grabs his or grab their face and, like, restrains herself, and instead gets too close into Fish's space and goes, is this the Moko tattooing tradition in northern New Zealand, it looks like, and you've got some of the eastern influences here above the eye. This is this is actually so interesting. It's not in the cut and ditch style. It looks more like individual needlepoint, maybe a hand stick and poke. Where did you get your tattoos done?
Right by you are correct. You are correct. I did them all myself.
Oh, yourself? Was it terribly hard? I mean, I have seen someone tattoo themselves before with kind of a mirror setup, but it was like a thigh, so they could, you know, get the angle on it. I imagine the face would be so difficult. You must have a very steady hand.
Oh, I do, and not just in tattooing. It's a pleasure to meet you. Are you Miss Kalov that I was being told about and told not to keep an eye on? What a terrible shame. I don't know why, May, why would you not want me to meet your friend here? It's great to meet you.
Oh, well, I wanted to keep her all to myself, of course, didn't I, Miss Cole? Looking at Fish like, don't. More specifically, don't fucking spill to her that we're sus on her. If you want to fuck it, fine, but don't.
Okay, they just grin and it's just like, I'll be, great to meet you. I'm Fish. I'm currently going by Mr. Perch as like my super secret, alias for the purposes of the auction. But I'm actually super cool, like I'm not like.
Oh, okay. Fish, Perch. I get it. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
So
I am funny. Looks at
yeah,
Cal.
you did the tattoos yourself. That's incredible. And yeah, am I right? Did you use a sort of a single needle system or
Yeah, single needle. It took ages. Fuck, tell you what. But helped me feel more connected to my culture before I actually was willing to connect to it, which is kind of a funny thing. Yeah, tell us all about your ones that you've got going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you don't mind, I mean the one that's perhaps most similar to yours because it is in sort of a Polynesian inspired naval tradition is, and she like kicks off one of her shoes and kind of like stretches the stocking so you can see the bottom of her foot, and there's like a little. There's a little like rooster tattoo on the bottom of her foot, and she goes, "So I got this on a trip to Manchuria, and there was a very old sailor. I did a lot of the traditional um, um, sailing tattooing, and apparently a lot of the sailors had these. You get a rooster on the bottom of your foot, it prevents you from drowning as a sailor, and I just thought that was so interesting. And you can see that the way the feathers go, this curve is something that that I've seen in some of the sailors having more kind of Polynesian inspired designs, and it's really interesting how kind of the history of tattooing seems to be that there was this very like East meets West influence in a lot of these sailors. This is kind of the original, and so that's really interesting. And and that's like the one she shows you that's like most similar to what you have, and she thinks would be most relatable. But if you were like, tell me all about your tattoos, she will tell you all about her tattoos.
Okay, I've got a super important question. What is her hair color?
She has, I believe it is dark brown. I wrote it down somewhere.
Mm-hmm. But she can change it because that's her because that's her magic.
She has a symbol tattoo. Yeah, it's dark brown. She has a symbol tattoo to concentrate her power that allows her to temporarily change her hair color while she's concentrating.
Okay.
If May was willing to give you that information. Otherwise, yeah, she might explain that to you if you keep asking about tattoos.
Yeah, Fish doesn't know that yet. Point is, she does the ankle stocking thing, and they're just like, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, it looks directly at May, like, Well, I can't wait to hear all about the rest that you have, and everything that you do. You seem like such a fascinating woman. What a pleasure to meet you. They can be all business with the auction, but maybe we can just hang out.
Oh, that sounds wonderful, actually. I do have an amount of work that I have to do while I'm here.
Work,
but,
it's always getting in the way.
I do have some, free time, hopefully, where I was just planning on, exploring the city a little bit. I've been to China before, but never here, never to this city. So I was gonna do some exploration time. But if you wanted to, spend time together or something like that, that would be great. Oh, and I'm very sorry for not making your acquaintance, Miss Dennis. Was it?
That is yes, that is Miss Dennis.
Miss Dennis, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Cece Cole, or Miss Cole, or Kohler, if we're gonna do sort of sorceress names.
Cal is just like, literally like, I was looking up an eye twitch gif. I'm just being like, not smiling, but like a very strange neutral mouth position. And then she's like,
May looks at Cal and thinks she's having a stroke.
yeah. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yes, Miss Claire. Yes, Claire Dennis.
Ms. Dennis here is one of my most trusted assistants. Says this apologetically to Cal. I just don't know how else to explain why you're here, but
Cal's like, I'm committing to the bit. I wanted to say before we get too far, the thing that I wanted Cal to do is I wanted to do maybe like an insight or a perception. How much is this woman who Cal is pretending to be right now? Like in terms of fashion, presentation, femininity.
I'd say that's an insight check.
God, I forgot I added too much to insight. Jeez. That's 11.
More and more like your sister every day. More and more elitisms. That was an 11, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. With an 11, you're looking at her. She's not dressed particularly fashionably. She kind of looks like maybe a minor clerk at a bank. It's like definitely nice, but not like fashionable in a way. Just kind of like a long dark skirt and a nice kind of like baby blue blouse, with a little like scarf tied jauntily around the neck. That's like, oh, that's a fun little splash of color. Doesn't super work with the outfit, but okay. You know, somebody experimenting a little bit with their personal style, but not being particularly bold. I think she's very feminine in kind of a very like unconscious way that like doesn't remind you of Elise or yourself, but does kind of remind you more of Metal about like Elise was weaponized femininity. She was always aware of how she was presenting herself because she was using it to manipulate people. This is more of a Metal way of just like, oh, I'm little and cute, and I have never thought about being little or cute ever before. It has never crossed my mind. Yeah, she is about she'd probably be like an inch or two taller than Cal if Cal was not wearing heels, but as it is, she's just got little like wedges, and so Cal is taller in her big boots.
She's not wearing boots right now, though.
She's wearing kitten heels.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Then yeah, they're probably about the same height.
Terrible.
Yeah, I think with an 11 insight, this just seems like a woman who's like genuinely happy to try to get to know you and meet you, and seems maybe desperate for friends. and yeah.
Yeah. Cal's just keep going through it, and she's just like, yeah, I think it's the idea of like definitely similar fashion, except Cal went more boring. She doesn't have any color in, but Cal's clothes are also better tailored, so they seem more interesting.
Yeah, they use a better fabric, so they've got a nicer drape to them. I think you can see Cece as someone who like maybe has an interest in fashion a little bit, but has no experience or knowledge in fashion.
Yeah. Basically, in no way is this woman a threat to Cal in any degree, and Cal is still like, I'm gonna fucking stab her in the throat.
This is absolutely like an adult cat meeting a kitten and just like having all the fur on the back up about like, I'm gonna kill this fucking thing. It's like, it's not a threat to you.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna roll to see if Cal's like to fish. If the idea, so in season 1, especially early season 1, Cal would go fully into, do they like this woman more than me? Or she's not quite that bad yet, but this idea of just being like, I don't want them distracted by someone else who is not me, who I feel threatened by because I feel like she's the person I am, like this just genuinely like, oh, sweet, nice girl who's also smart, I guess. And so she's just like fully delusional about being like, yeah, I guess they're super charmed by her and May is gonna try to add her to the team or something like that. Just fully not even in reality anymore. So she's just like this like barely contained cat rage. You're just like, not even smiling though.
It would be so funny if you did try to add her to the team, because again, based on her own report and based on what Sinner was telling May, she is like as close to immortal as you can get while still technically being part of the magical community. Like, she is absolutely useless in a fight. But
I mean,
if you got like
Metal
the
was
paperwork
too,
needed to do
so
research-
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fish actually is not legitimately interested in her in any way at all, and is just fully like humoring her because it's like, oh, you need to feel like you're fucking cool and special. I can do that. But like maybe catches Cal's eye, and it is totally on her if she even like gets it. But it's just like, yeah, I'm fucking humoring her. We're the cool people. But they've clocked that she's no threat, I think is reasonable to say. Yes?
Yeah. I think you're getting that impression with just like your insight. I think she's not cool. She's not as much of a like fucking dork as Jamal is, but she's not particularly cool. She seems like a nerd. And you might be like, oh, we can ignore her until she had like really technical, detailed knowledge about specifically your tattoos, which are something so unknown in this time period. It is the kind of thing of like, oh, she is an expert in things. Not necessarily an expert in anything I care about, but she is, she's maybe not smart, but curious and like well learned in certain ways. Being like, can't necessarily ignore her entirely, but yeah, not cool.
Yeah, I am not trying to write her off completely, but Fish has.
I understand. I just very mildly disagree with you because I'm like, I think Fish would be like, oh yeah, hi, super niche information about tattoos. Oh, that's really cool. Tell me about your tattoos. Oh, okay. I realized I don't care. I'm back to neutral on you again.
That's it. That's correct. Yes.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, let's talk about me. And talk about yeah, your shit is boring. Whatever.
Let's talk about you. Oh, you took me up on it. I was just being polite. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a godkin, by the way. It doesn't actually say this, but like just trying to make everything about them again.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she chats with you. She's super excited. I think she gives May the phone number of like the hotel she's staying at, so you can get in contact with her about potentially having dinner or hanging out. But yeah, she's like, oh well, you said you were busy, and I didn't want to, take up too much of your time. I'm sorry. I've got a little bit of paperwork and things that I need to do here, but, that's great, and I hope I can see you soon.
Yeah, of course.
The auction, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the auction's what is it, like 8 days away at this point? After Christmas. That's quite a while. Hopefully, I see you before then.
Miss Cole, do you enjoy trying street food?
Okay. So, I love street food so much, but street food does not seem to love me. I was visiting India for this mission. I was down south in Bombay actually, and I had this thing, and I don't super know what it was, and it didn't agree with me. So I'm trying to have less street food, but I'm sure I could be convinced.
Well, how about we'll go restaurant hopping instead, and hopefully that will alleviate some concern.
I have never had kind of Southern Chinese.
Neither have I. So we can have the adventure together.
She grabs your hand with both hands, like yes.
But I'm dreadfully sorry. In the meantime, that we need to get going. You've got some administration to get to take care of, some tasks to do. All the usual
of
boring
course, but
things.
You're busy. You've probably got fun adventures to do. Maybe some like magic archaeology or something of that nature. But yes, hopefully I can see you soon.
Absolutely, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay. Well, it's a date. And Mr. Perch, it was very nice to meet you. And Miss Dennis, it was very nice to meet you too. Hopefully I will see you soon. Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye. As soon as she's out of earshot,
Agent Temerity is like
I think-
Miss Cole, and it's like, bye, Mr. Temerity. You too.
as soon as she's out of earshot, Fish goes, "No, I'm not gonna fuck her."
I'm sure she'll be dreadfully disappointed to hear it.
I think so.
I also think as she is walking away, Mr. George also says goodbye to you in the most base level of politeness that rolls over into being impolite, of just being like, eh. And just walks away.
Do you think they've
respects this.
explored each other's body?
Give me an insight check.
No, I'm wrong. I did this when I first met them. They're not a thing.
Fuck no.
It's funny.
Yeah,
you
you
do
can
this-
understand her.
You can
Yeah,
do the
he-
WLW check.
He
Yeah,
genuinely
sure. I'll do
hates
that. I'll do the Willow check, please and thanks.
Okay, I'm glad we both do the Wallowa thing because that's exactly how I read it.
That's
Or
a 15.
Wooloo.
Mine was always. I never did it with WLW, but for MLM, I always pronounce it in my head. Mlum. No, because there's no vowels. Mlum.
I pronounce all of the Skullduggery books with there's a couple exceptions, but most of them I pronounce. Like I love calling Playing with Fire Pluff.
Okay.
But then there'll be ones where Dying of the Light is Totodile.
Nice.
I like
Well,
filling in the
lady.
gaps.
What was that? What was that, Ellie?
15.
Let me do a deception check
Offense.
for her.
Just know that she's not into munching rug.
Hold
Good
it
luck.
in. You think that it is perhaps a little too new in your association for her to be like, but you do get a little bit of that vibe.
Okay.
I don't think with that deception and your insight that you could conclusively say she is into exclusively ladies, but you do think that's on the table.
I mean, a
Yeah.
buff woman with lots of full body tats, good hair. I mean, she's not immune.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
yeah. It's the
Yeah.
stud of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, quick note for audience members. This is it's a D&D game, but it's also a dating sim.
As all good D&D games are.
hmm
Also, the fact that May went, okay, I am interested in this one guy and most female characters I have met.
Is that not the bi woman experience?
It tragically is. Bless.
Um,
I feel more that May is just like, I thought this girl needs a union, and I'm gonna get her.
Yeah. I honestly, this is the kind of thing of being like, there is a fix to this problem, and that fix might be like bombing her office when she's not there, so that everyone else dies. She is like, 17th in line in charge of her department, and everyone else is men.
Yeah.
The only other woman who works in her building is a junior secretary that gets sexually harassed every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Fish is like, I'm not gonna fuck her, Cal's like, good, because she's probably a spy.
Or maybe worse, a skank. Cal's mean.
Fun, right?
She learned it from Elise.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right after, and she's probably a spy, being like, did you see her clothes? They didn't even fit her.
I would like to roll for Fish to notice how like annoyed that Cal is, like specifically, if I may.
Oh, 100%. That's insider perception. And I don't
It's
think
like
the
a
DC
DC of 3.
is particularly high. Yeah. I don't think Cal's trying to hide it in any way either.
That's good because I rolled shit. It's a 6.
That's
That's probably enough. You probably don't know the depth of it with a 6.
Okay. Well, Fish doesn't say anything, but they file it away that, like, once we get to the hospital, gonna bring Kekano back just to plonk in her arms.
Kekano, ask
she would
her
like
about
that
how much
a
she
lot.
hates this woman.
Just to be comforting.
Yeah.
Hi, Collagenist. I love you. I understand you have complaints. I'm here to listen.
I heard you needed to talk about some skink ass bitch.
See some hoe that's gonna steal Dad and maybe May and leave you all alone.
God.
Does she have bad vibes?
She a rancid little hussy.
As
Anyway.
This conversation ends, Kalura and Mr. George walk away, and you see a car like pull up from them at the valet. Like clearly they have more work to do, but it's not here at the compound. You are. It's just the 3 of you here with Agent Temerity, and he just turns and says, "So you want to stay here? Or back to Hong Kong?"
I was going to think we have a little look at the hospital so that we know the layout before we're potentially being chased through it at night.
No, he instead turns to Cal and goes, "Well, she was cute."
I was like, you're allowed to fuck her. I don't care about you.
Yeah, Cal goes, "I hate it. I hate it so much." Temerity essentially says that getting into Hong Kong as white people, or at least non-Chinese people, is a lot easier than getting out. So he's not really concerned
I
about
bet.
you coming back. He'll probably have to come with you to the checkpoint every day, but is not necessarily going to supervise you if you don't like actively need or want his help. So yeah, just let him know if you are going to be like, we're going to explore the hospital and then get dinner and then go back to the hospital, or if it's going to be like, yeah, we'll probably be back around like 8 or something if you're around.
I was assuming we'd eat in, unless like you guys have like items that you really specifically want.
Nah, hospital
Nah.
time.
Nah,
The
Hostile
one thing,
I'm gonna get the
hospital.
flu jab.
the one thing I will remind you is that any of your very obvious weapons were left in Hong Kong. So May doesn't have her guns, and people don't
I
have
do
like
like
their
my
knives.
guns.
Yeah, you do like your
Yeah.
guns. That's very true.
Mhm.
But like anything that's even like conceivably not a weapon, like cat, is totally fine. Anything that's just not obviously a knife or a
Oh,
blade or a firearm.
I kind of do
And
all my guns.
you did say all I need is cat, but that was before the hospital, so yeah.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
No, it's entirely up to you. I think you realize you can try and set up, you can try and figure out how to like smuggle your guns across the border. That's going to be a whole thing. That's going to be the rest of the day, and it may not even work.
Jesus.
If May expresses that she wants her guns, then Fish like encourages her to like, yeah, no, go ahead and you go take care of that. Temerity, you help her, and Miss Dennis and I will head over to the hospital just to hold down the fort until you're here with your guns.
No. May immediately goes, no, actually, I'll leave my guns. Fish hasn't regained his trust enough yet to leave them in the hospital. Does May have her whip?
Yes, I think so. I think you could
You went, it's a prop!
yes, I think you could conceivably convince
It's
someone.
a sex thing!
Yeah, or being in the same way that like a staff is like could be a weapon, could just be a walking stick. You were like whip, and they're like, that's weird. Sure.
That's fine, as long as she has a physical weapon for a worst case. Yeah.
Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Yeah.
10 hours.
Episode title.
That is a banger of a song.
It's great, right?
Then yeah, if you're gonna go explore the hospital, Agent Temerity takes his leave and heads back to Hong Kong, and you've got directions to the hospital. There are rickshaws and taxis around to get there. It's not a far distance. You will have to give money, even in a communist utopia, because you're foreigners.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can very easily get there.
Oh.
You are leaving this very peaceful compound to dive back into the city itself. It's a busy place. Kind of, it makes you realize how quiet it was in the House of the Ram compound. But eventually you get to the hospital. The out front is essentially a sign that Fish can translate, unless May wants to redo comprehend languages. That is essentially
Fish is eating dirt.
Yeah, Fish is eating dirt all the time. That is essentially like South Guangzhou Central Hospital, and then underneath it, in clearly a much newer sign, is the Baiyutsu Medical Group, the group that you are interested in. As you pull up, you probably are using the time to study the documents and reports that you got about the hospital and the situation there. Yes. For Holly, technically there is a 5-minute ritual to learn for Fish to do comprehend languages. We have flavored that as, in order to get the local language, Fish needs to have the local dirt. As you head there and are reviewing the documents, the hospital from what you've been able to read is a decently large hospital. It's administered by this company, so assumedly they have some offices here. There is a central entrance that is for everybody, and then there is a back way. Essentially, there is a secret entrance and stairwell leading up to the 3rd floor, which is where the Sorcerer Blood Bank, the Vampire's office is, and the magical treatment rooms. And then there's one singular trick door that connects it to the normal blood bank of the hospital, that connects them. So it's almost like it's a mortal and magical hospital that are sharing a building, but not for the most part sharing facilities. So there is 2 ways to get down. You've got keys to both, although the mortal part is at least still open and functional during the day. And as you are looking at sort of the general schematics, you can see 1st floor is emergency department as well as general offices. The emergency department's the only part that's open right now. Everything is closed down. 2nd floor, general medical wings. 3rd floor, general medical wings, and the blood bank / secret entrance to the sorceress side of the hospital. And then the 4th floor has some administrative offices, which if you were trying to get information about the company, maybe something would be there, although you don't know if this is this is secretly an outpost of this company, or just it's a hospital, everything here is above board, as well as a infectious disease isolation unit that takes up a big chunk of the 4th floor. And with that, you head in.
Before we do that, Patrick, can I roll for me to memorize the layout of the hospitals?
Sure. Give me your cartography tools check.
Yep. That's a rare,
so-
but it's not a great roll. Sorry, go on, Eve.
Oh, I was just going to say Fish is focusing on entries and exits. If there are only the 2 ways into the magical portion of the hospital, then they're going to prioritize for the stakeout portion of this exercise, making sure to arcane lock so that there's only 1 way in, 1 way out, so we know if someone's coming in, it's only out of 1 way. Does that track?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
All
makes
right.
sense.
Sorry.
If-
yeah,
if-
Ellie.
Without a check, just looking at the schematics, you can see there are some emergency exits. Not very many. This was certainly before modern safety protocols. But the Sorceress Wing does genuinely seem to have just the one hidden entrance, and then the probably not very often used connection between the regular and Sorceress Hospital. So those are the only 2 ways in. There's no emergency exits or anything like that. Maybe that's for security or privacy. Maybe that's just maybe that's just because it was retrofitted from something else, or they don't care about safety that much. Who knows? But there's no emergency exits or anything in the Sorceress part. Only those 2 entrances.
May got a 10. Can I mitigate it by having it be a focus more on a general layout of oh, we're being chased. I kind of know there's a way to go up here, or this person is on the run. I kind of know they can only go in this general direction.
Yeah, I think a 10 is enough that you've got the layout of the whole building. You just aren't necessarily memorizing this is where this department is.
Yeah.
This is how you get to here from here. You're
Hmm.
I know where the stairwells are. I know what the elevator is. I know kind of the general layout of each floor. You're not necessarily, a 10 is not necessarily enough that you're I know that if I can go through this into this department by making a right, a left, and then a right to get to this door off to the side. But it is if I go in this direction and then look for a door, I'll be here.
Yeah, I mean, she hasn't even entered the building yet, so I think that's fairly fair.
Yeah, and also, this is schematics on very old-looking, low-quality paper. It's also the kind of thing of like the building may actually not follow this because this is the period of time where you could just
Do shit.
not obey safety plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've definitely got a sense of almost the entire building. You know
Cool.
what's going on here. Then as you arrive and step out, it's a pretty boring looking building. As you head in the entrance, right in front of you is a very large, pretty nice painted mural of a mountain with dragons and eagles flying around it, colorful human figures kind of standing at the top. I don't know that any of you know the symbolism off the top of your head, but you can make a check about it if you want. To the left seems to be the main entrance to like the hospital itself, which is locked and dark, and to the right the door is open into the emergency department, which seems to still be pretty bustling with activity. A lot of quiet beeps of hospital machines and patients, quiet conversations, doctors bustling to and fro.
I want symbolism, and I got a 12.
Okay, on a symbol check?
No, it's in like the
No,
symbolism of
symbolism.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of the painting.
I would say
put
that
in.
I'd say there's probably a religion check or something. Religion
Oh,
or history.
okay.
I was gonna say
Yeah, sorry,
Arcana,
history.
like so Cal can destroy it.
I mean, if it's religion, I will destroy it. So let's go.
It's up to
Yeah,
you.
I got
Whoever
history,
wants to roll.
so
Ellie has already done it, so I think that's probably it. Unless someone else wants to like jump in and try to help.
Yeah, Cal's about too, diminutive. So I'll let Ellie take
Pretending
it.
to be. Pretending to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your roll for history?
12.
Including the modifier for history?
Yeah. The dice better be getting these shit rolls out of the way now.
All right.
You have to
You
train to
know-
use a gun.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you go to a shooting range?
This is Mount Penglai, which is the island of immortality in Chinese legend. You think it's kind of the equivalent of like a caduceus in the West, of being just like a symbol that like you're gonna get better, a general symbol of medicine and like hope to prevent death and things like that. Just a very like a very Chinese culturally important medical symbol. That's also a very nice mural on the entrance to this place. That's what you get with the 12. You can head into the emergency department where there's a bunch of people to question. Most of the people who've been attacked, they've all been moved to other hospitals, but you do have like their written testimony of what happened to you from the House of the Ram investigator, or because you have the keys, you can just genuinely just immediately go into the close off rest of the hospital.
Alright, let's just go in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want like a pass without trace or anything, or just be overt?
If we're gonna go in, probably, maybe, hey. Is it very obvious where the door into the closed off bit is?
Yeah. How visible?
It's pretty out in the open, and the door to the emergency department, big swinging doors on both sides. The door to the emergency department is propped open, and you can see tons of people like in there moving around. A lot of beds. It looks like it's overflown a little bit too, overflowed. There's a lot of extra beds where there should be walking space. It's crowded in there. People can see you pretty easily from where they are. you wouldn't necessarily see anyone paying attention to you in any way, but people can probably see you. It's a question of whether they'll care, because it's not like you're breaking in. You do have the keys. But you can
Yeah.
also do a perception check, just like peeking into the emergency department to try to get more than that.
A look into the emergency department. Fish would like to do an Eldritch sight.
Okay, give me a perception or Arcana check for Fish as well. Then.
Okay. If it were a lower roll, no. Arcana doesn't have a plus. If it were a lower roll, I wouldn't do it, but I've got an 18, so I'm happy to do that for magic.
Okay. For Arcana, as you peek in, it seems like this is a mortal. A mortal department. You're not seeing a lot of magical equipment. There is magic here. You can see there is a back door that you think kind of leads deeper into the hospital, the connection between the emergency department and the rest of it. And there is, like, what seemingly functioning as a security guard, but an actual soldier standing there. And it's a little weird because he's got a military uniform, but like his division patch is the logo of the pharmaceutical company. So it's like Chinese military special division, this specific company, which is weird. But as you look past him, the door he's guarding has not like an arcane lock, but like an arcane alarm on it. And it's very clearly like, we're keeping this little portion of the hospital open. This is security to prevent whatever the fuck is happening with the rest of the hospital from getting in here. So somebody has put a little bit of a magical alarm so that whatever it is will have more trouble getting into the emergency department from the rest of the hospital. You also, because an 18 is fairly high, I'll say as you look around, you see a little bit of magical traces in the vent work. That's around the room, just kind of at the top of the room, very small air vents coming around. You see like a little bit of magical traces, and there is one person in this room who is very powerfully magical, just kind of a singular person in the sea of mortals. And you see it is not a doctor or anyone else on their feet, it's someone in a hospital bed. It is, in fact, a small boy.
Okay, well, we found the culprit. Is
Oh,
Arrest that child!
Is this like a Claudia interview with the vampire situation?
Well, look, we know that they're small enough to get through the vents.
Yeah.
So.
But that the victims described them as kind of like adult size, or at least adult height. So it's like
Eyewitness testimony is perhaps the least reliable of all of the evidences that there are.
There could
And
be
the
wearing big ass platform shoes.
And the eyewitness testimony you got is particularly unreliable. It's a lot of people who saw something in the dark that they don't really know what it was. Most of them, as far as the reports say, were entirely mortal, and so they don't know like what's possible and what's not. They're just kind of saying wild things, and almost everybody was asleep when they were attacked, so they woke up to whatever was attacking them, which is the worst possible scenario to like get accurate information. So yes, eyewitness testimony is bad. The eyewitness testimony you have is significantly worse than usual.
Okay, I'm linking a vine. We all know which one it is, and when I say that, you may not.
Yeah,
but this is what's happening.
I'm thinking about the.
Oh, I do know this one.
I don't. I guess I'll enjoy.
This is what's happening.
Yeah. Small tangent that happens to me all the time. Just a personal thing about myself. My level of dissociation is so high that they like somebody standing behind me or outside the window or is gonna grab me from the corner. Most people have to be like severely sleep deprived or fucked up or drunk to have that happen to them. Me, it's just like I've been awake for 8 hours. I hallucinate so easily. That specific hallucination about like there's monsters or figures of something or spiders moving or something. That's so easy. I hallucinate all the time.
Well, you know me, I'm here in Megalovania all 24/7, so
Yeah.
I get it.
That's a personal problem for you though. That's just because it is actually playing in your head and you're just kind of like crossing your audio streams. You're like the ears are supposed to be for the outside audio, not for the inside audio.
Also,
I mean, Yeah.
I was just thinking about the eyewitness testimony, which I always think of Monsters Inc. He shook me with his eyes and shot me with his laser beams.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have
that's
taken
a great scene. Sorry.
It is a great scene. Because my own field is psychology, I have taken a number of courses in specifically psychology and the law, which is usually about eyewitness testimony. And yeah, it's really bad and unreliable. Eyewitness testimony is fucking terrible.
So I brought up that Monsters Inc. thing because I had a journalism class in middle school, and my middle school teacher taught us the difference between secondary source and primary source, and being like, well, you would think that primary sources are better, but yes, you can see in this clip from Monsters Inc.
That's a great example of that point.
It's phenomenal. Again, I learned this with this particular lesson. This would have been, gosh, 15 years ago. Still remember it perfectly.
Yeah.
Could
A lot of times the
Fish
secondary
maybe
source can be more reliable than a primary source. Yeah.
could
This
Fish
goes
maybe
straight
do
up
some
to this
connection?
child.
Could Fish maybe do some connections? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, as I mean, like, see if there's some magical connection between, or like lingering magical effect, depending on what happened to this child.
Also,
I
I'll
think
do
with
a
a
death sense.
Yeah, we'll do a death sense for you. I think with a 19, the 18.
Yeah.
The magic you're seeing at the door, the magic you're seeing at the vents, and the magic you're seeing on this child don't seem on the surface to be related to you. There's no kind of commonality. Just that this is a powerful magic child. It could just even be like, hey, this is like a kid who's like a sorcerer and has a lot of natural talent, but like isn't aware that he's magic yet or something like that. Like you're kind of seeing, magic within this kid. It's just like it's weirdly powerful. This is when you look at the magic inherent in like your friends who are pretty powerful mages of various descriptions. This child is more, which is weird. And maybe it's just like, hey, something made it seem stronger to my senses, or maybe I'm particularly sensitive to like the type of magic. Like, if you feel like in this evolving understanding of your powers, if this kid had like empathy magic or something like that, you might respond a little more severely to that than to other types of magic, because it's sort of in the same vein as your magic. So there's some like consideration there. But yes, this child is very magical, and it just looks like a young boy, maybe like 5 or 6, and he's hooked up to a respirator, seemingly unconscious, and just kind of glowing with magical energy. Cal was doing a death sense. I also believe May was doing a normal, bless you, a normal perception check into the room to see about sneaking in. For the death sense, give me a Arcana or Perception check, just because there's something very specific I want to see if you notice.
I'll go with Arcana, which will be 21.
Okay. I set the DC at 20. So
Okay.
So that does do it. You do a death sense. You feel some like old death of just like, and it's pretty deeply ingrained. It almost feels like it's in the floor, it's in the beds, it's in the walls of especially the emergency department. Of people like people come here with traumatic injuries and pass away decently often. None of it seems particularly fresh or particularly notable to your senses, but in the same way that a graveyard feels different in your senses as just like this deep pit of magic, this emergency room feels like enough people have died here to have kind of a permanent effect. Even if someone had not died here in the last 2 weeks, you would still feel it. And as you're thinking about that, you're thinking about your studies and your research. You know, death sense is almost like searching for a rhythm. Death is almost a vibration out of sync with the power of life, and it's really searching for that. And in your training, when you find a dead body, there's a little bit of that magic, the death magic crossing over. When you feel a graveyard, it's more like sort of a pit. It has a certain amount of gravity to it with death magic. And in certain rare circumstances, there was a graveyard in Prague that you visited on a field trip when you were with the in the catacombs that felt like this. And in some ways, you have felt like this for just a very brief moment when a very powerful necromancer has used magic. You've felt it from your sister once or twice when you were young and she was practicing with very high level spells in preparation for a potential Deathbringer-dom. But it is so much necromantic magic concentrated in such a small area that it almost feels like a hole. And a hole into the realm of death, and in that way it is less, in some ways less noticeable because it's smaller, so your mind can skip over it easier, but in other ways more powerful, as once you notice it, it is a deep hole that rests your attention towards the realm of death. And you're thinking this because you skip over it, and then skip over it again, and then you notice something is there. You really stretch your senses, and you feel a small hole into death. And as you touch it, it is deep. It goes all the way. More severe, more concentrated death energy than you have ever felt in your entire life. Behind you. And as you turn and look across the street, there is a figure in a robe, hunched, disguised, a long staff in its hand, and it steps back into an alleyway, and disappears. It's not here anymore. And the death magic sort of lingers in your mind like a radiation, almost a sickness. But it's gone now.
Cal makes a grab for whoever's like arm is closest to her at that moment.
Fish and May are probably both like, kind of peeking into the emergency department. Fish is like, that's a weird magic kid. May's like, anybody looking while I pick this lock? And Cal's the only one looking backwards going, what the fuck is happening?
Okay, so Fish actually was going to like approach the child to like get a better look. So like they're looking in and they're also like, okay, can I smuggle Kekano in here to like get a good empathy reading on this kid? Are there many stuffed animals around? So let's say it's them.
Yeah, just yanks for their sleeve.
What?
Did you feel that? With the
you?
connection, connect to connect to me, connect to death magic. It's still, it's like it's lingering. You still might be able to catch it.
Oh, okay. What can be a good role for that?
To try and sense lingering death magic.
Yeah.
I'd say
Or like Eldritch Sight, see the trail.
Yes, I think Eldritch Sight and another Arcana check, because you are essentially trying to connect to Cal and like a little bit borrow her ability with death magic in order to do this.
Yep.
You're borrowing a sense you don't have.
19.
Fuck yeah! Also, Holly, would you like to see a kitty?
Holly might not be back.
She might not be. Well, if you're here, Holly, Pepper says hi, and he's horns.
I haven't been able to see you this entire time, Rooney. So unfortunately, I just
isn't
have
my
to go
connection
with your
just not
word
been
on
working?
Really? I've seen her.
Yeah.
it. Okay, well you're in the same house.
Is Ellie
That
also
does
in my
not mean anything.
Have you seen
Hold on.
Ellie and Patrick?
Oh no, I'm seeing you now. Okay, who have you got?
Oh, we got someone stabbing me in the throat. Hello. He's Pepper.
He's a good pepper boy. He's a good seasoning.
Yes, 19.
With a 19, as you turn around with Eldritch Sight, you do actually catch a little bit of a trail, a little piece of connection, kind of stretching and then breaking as whatever it is disappears. And I think you sense with a 19 that like this connection you have. Cal's Death Sense has a certain range, after which point it's a lot less reliable. Your ranges are a little more flexible when you're using your connection magic and your Eldritch Sight, and you kind of feel the connection snap and disappear, and it's like, oh, this thing didn't just like walk around the corner; it's actually gone. It disappeared. It teleported. It flew away. It stepped away. Something.
And that is what they tell Cal. Whatever it is, it's gone. It's gone.
Cal is still clutching to her sleeve. Her brow furrows really deeply, and she's like, "Is it a necromancer's here? Is it looking for? Is it looking for me?" Well, thank you for confirming that, and I guess we probably should not to focus on it. Thank you for looking and confirming.
I looks at May. Is she paying attention?
May's probably heard this conversation, so I do want May to make a perception check, just because you would have seen into the hospital room before this distraction. But then, yeah, probably you can hear them talking. You're right next to them.
Yeah. She got a 21, a dirty 21.
Okay. With a dirty 21, there is a doctor in the emergency department who has noticed you, seeming like head doctor, someone in charge of intake, kind of wondering why people are lingering around the front door. That seems to be the only person kind of paying attention to you. With the 21, I think you can also see that, like, even though this is the emergency department, very little kind of emergency medicine seems to be happening here. There's a lot of kind of like checking up on people. This is probably like the people who could not be fully moved out of the hospital to another facility were just kind of moved down here. Like, this is not an emergency room at the moment. This is just everyone who was in too bad a way to be moved out of this building when the rest of it shut down.
Um,
And I think with a 21, you also notice the guard at the back door, and you notice that he also has noticed you.
May kind of makes as if she's looking for someone, and then like shrugs like, "Oh, I guess they're not here," and then is going to duck out of the way, and then I guess overhears the conversation.
Mhm.
Doesn't really have much to contribute besides perhaps it's linked to whatever's going on here.
Yeah, Fish mutters like to Cal. I've got some kind of depth things to discuss with you. Maybe later. Not now. Later. Okay.
And she nods.
And now it's like, let's go inside. let's fuck off because they're looking at us.
Yeah, you are rapidly reaching the point where you've either got to commit to like stepping into the emergency room and being like, "Hi, I'm here to see someone," and also maybe ask some questions, or be like, "Get the fuck out, let's go through the other door."
Yeah.
Um,
Goodbye.
Cal is too freaked out to let go of Fish because she keeps being like, this bitch comes back, we need to be connected. So I think her grip relaxes from the like pulling to like a like hand clutching like elbow kind of thing. Like the way you would if you were gonna like tuck someone's arm in, but isn't being that presumptuous yet.
Okay, well then Fish brings up the arm and taps her with the 3 fingies. Like, I gotcha.
Good. Yeah, gonna just continue clinging on to Fish is too much about being like too much of a paranoid scaredy cat to being like, oh yeah, he's gone till he comes back.
Mm-hmm. Also, I should say with May's 21, the doctor can see you across the hall, opening this door. A body language that is curious, rather than like suspicious. The guard is like slightly around the corner behind a desk from across the hallway, so he can't see you opening this door. And with a 21, you don't notice anyone else really paying attention to you in any way, shape, or form that would keep you from going through. Just this doctor.
You again. Come here. Come here. Come here, Papa.
I will also point out for Holly's great dinner, which I'm glad you have. Isn't it like 2 in the morning your time?
Cat.
He looks so funny.
The little mem was really appropriate.
Mhm.
Hi, Holly.
Baby boy.
This is Pepper.
Peppercini.
Pepper. I swear he's smarter than he looks.
Yeah, no, he looks really dumb. He is not. He is frighteningly intelligent, and we all kind of hate it. Yeah, do you just walk across, pop the key in, and open the door up?
Sure. Why
Okay.
not?
All right. You scuttle across and open the door. The doctor seems to make a note of it, but is not like coming over and questioning you or anything. You step into the hospital itself as the sounds of outside and the ER quiet. You find yourself in a much quieter part of the hospital. All the lights are off, but there is a light switch right next to you. Flick it. Nothing. Try a couple of the other ones. Nothing. There's power in the ER, but it doesn't seem like any power here, at least in the rest of the lobby, which is weird, but don't know.
How dark is it?
It is because it is still sort of like late afternoon. The front entrance has a bunch of big windows because a foyer. It's decently bright. You can certainly see without issue in this front area. You can see that as you go deeper into the hospital, it will get darker and darker.
Yeah.
There is. You kind of think staying in like the hallways where there is occasional windows and things like that, it will never be pitch black. Yeah, I mean, May has dark vision, but for everyone
Oh,
else,
no, not for that reason. May
So-
takes out her whip and activates Radiant Weapon,
oh, okay.
which I haven't done yet.
Your whip starts glowing with a dim light.
So no. It's a bright light in a 30-foot radius, and then dim
Oh,
light
really? A
30
bright
foot
light?
beyond that. Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's very bright.
That's quite a light source.
Yeah.
You got to hold it up like a weird lantern to kind of like shine around. But yeah, you've got a bright light in here. But yes, you don't think it'll be pitch dark during the day in hallways. A lot of like the treatment rooms, into the wings of the hospital where a lot of the beds are and stuff like that, that is going to be pitch dark.
Yeah.
So that's just something to be aware of.
It's going to be
And
spooky, spooky.
Head deeper into the hospital. This entire time, ever since you've gotten to the hospital, Kekano has been in your head being like, what's going on? What is that thing? Something scared Cal. Ooh, that guy's got a lot of magic. Oh, Cal doesn't seem so good. She seems scared. Dad, can I come out now?
Yeah, but yeah, you can. Like, doesn't have to, like, this is not a literal thing, but like pops that bubble and the little sail boy plonks into their arms and they go rubbing their belly.
Hi, Dad.
Denier, I got a special delivery just for you.
Collisionist! Pick me up. Pick me up.
Kel picks him up, cuddles him to her face, and she's like, I'm glad to see you.
It's gonna be okay. Whatever you thought was scary, it's gone now, probably.
Until it comes back.
Well, maybe, but if it comes back, you and Dad and May, you're real strong, and you'll handle it. I know you.
Probably
It's
not.
It's not gonna
No,
be
probably
a threat, probably. Collisionist, I'm trying to calm you down, and you're upsetting me instead.
Yeah,
Cal
don't do
feels
that, Denier.
Yeah, Gal feels suddenly remorseful and is like, oh. Well, I just want to be prepared for practicality's sake.
Yeah, no, well, like we'll be fine. We'll be ready. You know, it's the three of us. Come on, you know.
Chin up,
The
Claire. It's
three
not
of
that time yet.
Where are the three? But anyways, ever had.
Well, the four with you, baby boy.
Besides, it's still bright. Don't forget there's apparently nothing going on here during the day.
Oh yeah, I heard the guy say that. I don't know if that's true, but it is nice if it's true because it means we're safe.
It's up to you guys how you want to explore. Anywhere specific you want to go, anywhere specific you want to see. You do know from the notes where the kind of attacks happened. They're not like limited to a specific area. There were a lot of individual treatment rooms and individual recovery rooms and stuff like that on all floors. But you know where they are, so you can specifically get to those rooms to look for trace evidence or something. You could
Yeah, let's
try
do
and get
that.
it. You can go to the sorcerer's part of the hospital, look for evidence there. You know, you can be like, well, take a little peek into the medical company's offices or something.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Whatever you
May
want to
would-
explore. Let me know.
Yeah,
What's
May would
May doing?
say, yeah, May would be like, okay, we're hitting the attack sites, and I'm going to snoop through their files. That would be her plan.
Do you split up or stay together?
No splitting up.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Damn it. Okay, because Fish's thing was going to be like, all right, yeah, you go sort out the files. Jenny, you go that way, and I'll go this way. Wait till May leaves. Hold on, I need to talk to you.
So, like, you try and convince her. Absolutely go for it. But that's very much like, why would we split up in an unfamiliar area where there is potentially a really dangerous thing lurking around, and you guys don't have dark vision?
And persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still the daytime, so we're fine.
How does countering a persuasion roll work, Patrick? Is it inside?
You can choose to roll your own persuasion to counter against it. You can choose to say, like, I think May would be this hard to persuade and set, like, a DC in your head. Yeah, it is up to you being your character rather than mine. So there is a lot more flexibility. You know, we make this space collaboratively.
Yeah.
Fish can also be like, we'll meet up. Hey, me and Denier will meet up with you in 5 minutes or something like that. Like a way to be like, hey, a way of kind of splitting up, but temporarily as a negotiation.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be fully one or the other.
I'm happy to do a persuasion. Because I've got a reason for her to be like, yeah, okay.
Okay, have you got your DC set?
No, I was just going to do opposing persuasion rolls.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I rolled a 15.
Yeah. Okay. That's a 19. But
Okay.
I think she'd be like, the 5 minutes is okay. She'd be like, okay, but be quick. I really don't think we should be splitting up in here. And
Okay.
it's going to start towards the files.
Wait, May, you've got the bright rope thing. Can you give that to someone else?
I think she feasibly can.
It also has dancing lights.
Yeah. No, I think Kekino is just like, yay, we're all together. Oh no, we're splitting up. It's gonna be dark.
Yeah, it's whoever wields it. So yeah, she gives it to Cal.
Okay. Cal has a cool whip now.
Cal has
Yeah,
a
with the cleric. It's mildly important to me.
Do you want to give Kekino over to May, or is Kekino staying with you?
I can go to May for, just for a minute.
Okay.
That's not sus.
Cal's like, okay, we're gonna go murder that. I guess we're gonna go on a suicide mission to find the freaky death guy. Okay, fine. Yeah, you know what? I'll do it.
Yeah, whatever. I've lived a good life.
Yeah, this could be the end of it.
This life was okay.
Don't forget
yes.
you both have maze stones, so you can contact her as like a seller.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are 2 attack sites on this first floor and 3 on the second floor. The administrative offices where the paperwork would be is on the 4th floor. Where do you want to split up to for just 5 minutes? Just each person take a attack site, or May try and go up and get a start on the paperwork and you meet her there, or...
I think they would probably do it, attack side, because it's closer to them.
Okay. An attack site each. Cal and Fish split off to take a look at the closer attack site. May takes one that's a little bit farther and across the hall.
Kekino is like, I liked that Cole person, kinda. She seemed very enthusiastic, and she was nice about Dad's tattoos, and that's very important.
She was nice, wasn't she, Kekino? You didn't see... do you think she's as nice as she seems?
Well, I don't know. Let me do an insight check for Kekino.
Can May give an advantage to Kekino? Because I'm going to say May is like, do you think she's nice all the way through, or do you think she's maybe like the benefactor, where She's pretending to
don't
be nice.
think that's necessarily enough to give him advantage, but he
Right,
does
sure.
have advantage on perception checks with sight, hearing, and smell. So maybe I'll do a perception
Did
check
she
at a higher
smell
DC.
suspicious?
Yeah, did she
Yeah.
smell suspicious? Did she have like stress
Yeah.
hormones coming
Well,
off
she
of her or
had a
something?
nefarious scent.
Yeah. Well, that advantage did not do
Oh, well.
much for Kekino. That is a total of 9.
He just says, I think, May, no, this is a secret. I think she smelled like maybe like lilacs. Like
Oh, it's
a
very
nice
perceptive.
lilac perfume.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you smell anything else at the moment, Kekino? You are after all the master sniffer.
I am
And
the
I can't
master
see
sniffer.
everything.
Thank you, May. It's very nice. No, I just think that nobody bad can wear lilacs because it's a very pretty smell, you know. And so only like people who are pretty on the inside can be pretty on the outside with lilacs.
Very interesting philosophy, Kekino.
Yeah.
What about in here? Are you smelling anything that maybe doesn't smell right?
It smells really strongly of chemicals and some sick people and I think like a little bit of blood, which is not good.
No, but this is a hospital, so unfortunately there's going to be a bit of that.
Yeah.
But you know, Kekino, you don't need to be scared because I'm with you. Do you have any idea how many dark places I've been? All the caves?
A lot of places, right?
lot
It's
of
been a lot of places.
It is a lot of places. I like to imagine that he's riding on her shoulder as they walk through. And yeah, that's it until we come to the...
Okay. You head into a little treatment room. You can give me an investigation check to try to find evidence. I think Kekino can give you advantage.
Yeah.
As he's using his sniffer as well. And then Fish wanted a moment with Cal.
Yes.
That's a dirty 27.
Okay. A dirty 27. This is one of the earlier attacks. This victim did not pass away, had big like slashing marks on kind of their chest and stomach. Lost a lot of blood, but ended up being okay. Just kind of traumatized by the experience itself. Because it's one of the early ones, this place has been really well cleaned. You can get little tiny pieces of blood that you think are fresh enough to be from the attack, like in little crevices, between the tiles and the floor and stuff like that. What you really notice is there is ventilation in this room, and the vent you can see. Something is wrong with it, and as you stand up on a chair and examine it, it looks like it is screwed in and totally sealed, but something about it is like ever so slightly deformed on the bottom lip, and as you pull it, the screws just like fully pull out of the wall, and it just hinges up as if it was sealed and something kind of broke it open. And as you look inside, you do see some blood traces and scrapes in the metal disappearing into the vents. And these are, for the record, not Mission Impossible human-sized vents. These are air ducts. They're probably, I'd say, like almost a foot tall and like maybe a foot and a half wide. So like Cal with none of her dresses on could maybe fit in if someone was pushing her from behind until you got to a curb. Even Fish would have to like dislocate both shoulders. Like it's not a big space.
What
you
about
can
a
see
Kekino?
You can see
Yeah.
the scrapes and blood. Kekino would fit. Yeah, Kekino would fit
Yeah.
pretty easily, actually.
Okay. Maybe it turns to Kekino and says, Kekino, how do you feel about having a little look in there?
Oh,
Even just have a little smell.
I already smell blood, so that's not great. But if you need me to, May, I'll do it.
What if May just wants to hold him up into the air vent to see if there's like a stronger smell of anything else rather than just the lingering blood?
Okay.
And she
He
says, if you see anything scary or smell anything scary, you tell me and I'll put you right out of here.
It's as you pull Kekino up and put him up to the vent, you just kind of like push him into the vent ever so slightly, you know, just kind of his head in. He is certainly small enough that he fits, and because he can be a slippy boy, he just kind of slides in really easily, and you're like, oh, he could explore the entire vent system unencumbered without issue. But you have him go in and take a big deep whiff. That is a total of 14.
he says, I smell some weird things in addition to the blood. It smells like a person, but not a person. Like
May pulls him out.
it doesn't smell super fresh. It smells a little old, but it's like before Dad made me, there was this time when he fought an ogre with Isle, and it smelled kind of like an ogre, but not like an ogre. Like a person, but not a person, but like a thing of like a like the pretty lady in Korea that Dad was spending time with smelled like a fox, but was a person. This is like that, where it's like it's a person, but like not a person.
Okay. May pulls him down and gives him a big hand. It's like, oh, that's very helpful, Kekino. Thank you so much.
you.
And we think a not person rather than like a not animal, if that makes sense, Kekino.
It kind of smells like an animal too, but it's a little musky in kind of the way a person is sometimes. Like when a person, like when Dad is like out in the woods and we're spending a lot of time with Grandpa, and so we're doing a lot of meditation, and I'm like, Dad, you smell really good because you smell so strong. And Dad's like, yeah, because I haven't showered in 3 days because we've just been in the woods. It's kind of like that, like a little bit musky.
Okay. Can May at all? I'm going to do a nature on the slashes to see if they bring to mind any type of like.
I'd say nature or animal handling would be like try to figure out what animal or something did this.
Okay. It's an 11. Animal handling is not May's strong suit.
Okay. With an 11, there's a lot of them. Like kind of in your digs, I don't think like animal life is something you have paid super attention to, but it's hard to know nothing about it just because you run into like a lot of burrowing creatures and stuff in your digs. This kind of reminds you of like some of the digs with your parents where you were where you would poke around kind of badger dens, where it's like there's a bunch of scrapes here as if something was like with claws was trying to like heave itself out or into a small space of just like scrape as something tries to like get purchase. With an 11, I think you think that the scrapes are weirdly long and deep at the tip. So it's not like something, it's not like, you know, a cat puts a paw down and then it's got little claws that comes out. It's like this is something that has like decently long claws in some way. Yeah, it kind of reminds you of a badger in that way.
Okay.
I think that's what you get with an 11.
Cool. Okay, I shall have May record, I guess, like a still image of that scene in case there's something later that seems relevant. And
that's just saved into Cat.
Yeah, and if there's nothing else that she's gotten from an investigation from the room besides the blood, I guess we'll make her way. If it's been like a couple of minutes, I guess go check on the fishing cow.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like there's still more time that needs to pass, in which case you'll go investigate the next attack site. I should
I
be
mean,
keeping an eye out on the vents.
I think 5 minutes. I think first of all, as you leave the room, you're looking around and you're like, God, there's vents
A lot of
everywhere.
vents.
Now that I'm paying attention to it, yeah, it's a hospital and needs good airflow. Every single room you're in has at least one vent. They're all kind of up
Yeah.
near the ceiling. There's none kind of near the floor,
Yeah.
but they are in all the hallways. They're in all the rooms. They're everywhere. And I think it's safe to assume with that investigation that whatever it is kind of using the vents to travel.
Cool.
The Because you rolled so high on that investigation check, I will also say that I will also say that the way the vent is in this room and the way the claw marks are, you think that whatever it is could have theoretically opened up the vent, stretched out down to the bed, and gotten the person there without necessarily setting foot on the ground. You can't guarantee that's what happened, but the claw marks are so deep right at the entrance that something could have anchored itself there. But yeah, you don't know more than that. While this is happening, we have Cal and Fish, and you've now moved far away enough from the emergency department that it is pretty much silent in here. Silent as the grave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, Fish is sincerely checks in on her, as in like, are you feeling okay after the thing?
Sorry, 1 second. Well, I don't really feel super calm with the idea that it may be tracking me or going for something else, or it's currently attacking someone else, and I'm here doing nothing. So
You're
no, not doing well.
you're not doing nothing. Okay, then I guess I shouldn't. I don't think it's after you. I um. So Lord Inari isn't the only god that's been killed in recent times, and pretty much all of them have been death adjacent.
Oh,
Have you felt any ripples in the death of gods? Anything like that?
no. I reached out for it when we were in North Korea, and I got that aftershock kind of feeling, but no, not recently, but I don't know. I haven't been trying to look for it either. You think that's what it's going on? It's just going on a killing spree of gods related to death?
Maybe not precisely a killing spree, but kind of like this vampire siphoning thing, but also not. Okay. Daniera, you need to promise me you're not going to be pissed off and mad.
That's a very difficult promise to make when it comes to you, but I'll try my best.
And it's our secret for now.
Secret from who? May? My followers?
From May.
Tekno? May? Alright.
She was totally right. Jonas is absolutely in my brain.
Saying May is right is also, in general, like saying the sky is blue, grass is green, with the exception of certain large, bulky men. Obviously, May was right. I knew May was right, and I knew you weren't, for whatever reason, willing to talk about it, but
this is more than me being a liar. It's way more important than that. By being connected to me, he's connected. He said he spoke to you. Yeah, of course he did. It's all of us through me, and I think that he's behind what might be, killing these gods, because that's what like his goal is, to get consolidate power and faceless ones and all that. And but basically, here and now, my major concern is May's going to be really mad at me when I tell her, because I have to tell her, and I would like for you to support me.
Fish, Cal looks at Fish, and then she says, before she kind of gets to the crux of the matter, I think she's going to look at Fish and go, "It's not because of you. We all made the decision to continue on. We could have turned back, or..." And she looks at Fish for a very long moment and go, "Kill you," and we didn't. And just because we are now connected to Jonas in a direct magical way through you doesn't mean we weren't connected to Jonas before. I don't think that Jonas would have necessarily forgotten my existence if he needed anything from necromancers or anything in a death magic realm, so it's not your fault. It was going to happen regardless. It's just maybe a more of a direct line than we would have liked. But that's fine. He would have figured out a less direct line anyways. In regards to May, what are you looking to avoid from her? Her anger? Her disappointment? 'Cause I will keep her from killing you, but I don't know if I can make her less disappointed in you.
Yeah, it. I really fucked it up, being like that our relationship was transactional and that I wouldn't help her do her shit if she wouldn't acquiesce to my shit. And it's something that it's hard enough fucking working that out with you. But
Cal frowned and she gets a very pronounced deep furrow in her forehead and goes, "Fish, have you ever had an argument with someone who wasn't me and then still continue to have a relationship or friendship with them?"
no, not even one time.
She has this very she shakes her head and she just is like, people are genuinely, in general, people want to forgive someone, especially when they've had a friendship of them in several years. May's not going to be looking for ways to disavow you and try to get rid of you and point at all of things. Trust me, you are not charming enough to justify that. If she's stuck around for that long, she does genuinely want you to be someone who, I don't know, apologizes and tries and admits that you were wrong. And again, we are not blind to your faults. We understand how you are and the way you act. Trust me, she would have found ways to have you unincluded from this if she really didn't want you around. I don't think she cares that much about a favor being paid.
Just worried about endangering you guys and the very nature of this mission.
I'm already in
You know what you said
grave
about
danger.
Kalor? You know what you said about Kalor being a spy? I kind of feel
Yes.
like I'm being that
Cal
without
puts a
even meaning to.
Cal nods and then puts a hand on their I'd say upper arm or something like that, and tilts her head and she goes, "Do you want an exorcism?"
Are you like, is that a serious offer? Like, or are you telling a joke?
No, she nods really deeply. She says, no, I can find a source for an exorcism. I will say this is going to be far more difficult, but my sister, if she probably has resources, honestly, she could probably clean you out magically and pretty much. No, that would probably work. If she killed you, she might be able to sever all connections and then put you back. I'm very sad. I'd put you back online is not a phrase that she would use. Put you back together and get you alive again, but that might be able to purge you of anything like that. No, I
Ye-
see. Yeah,
Yeah, but
well,
it's
I'm
at
sure we
least
could get you exercised.
Fish, we only
Yes.
have room-sized IBM machines at this point, but do you know what a hard reset is? Turning someone off and back on again? That's what Elise could do to you. I think that would solve your issues.
That's what Cal's proposing. It's called this IT problem. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
Doesn't
Well,
usually
I
work
know
with
all
people,
about
but
turning it
Elise can
on.
do it.
So
I've never turned it off, but I guess there's a first time for everything.
I mean, Elise is a big turnoff for me, so sure, yeah.
yeah,
No, but what was Fish saying?
they're like, fucking conflicted about it. Go, okay. You've put your trust in me, and I put mine in you.
We'll pursue exorcism, and we'll see if that works. We can pursue resurrection options and other things. Have you even asked your father about severing a connection?
No, it feels like going against what I'm meant to be to even try to do that. And but I'll fucking do it because this guy sucks.
Someone taking advantage of your otherworldly magic discipline and you severing that opportunity someone took from you against your will. That's not disavowing your magic or anything like that. If very much in my culture, it's about using your magic in the right and appropriate way, and this is obviously not a use of that your I assume your father was looking for you to use, and it doesn't even seem quite like that there's a rule book. I mean, not to really not to inflate your ego, but you are a god. I think you can do whatever you want.
So, yeah. And you can do whatever you want to about this fucking death thing. You know that, right?
I'm trying to be a good resource for people and help and try not get as many people dead. I am it's easy to be afraid of something like this. And I think about how I'm so over my head and have been over my head for the last 2 years, but I have a responsibility, and if I am going to die, I will die doing something that I believe in, and I know that I tried my best, so
I think Fish has to actually think about that. Because like the instinct is just to make a flippant joke, like, "Oh well, at least you've accepted your death if it comes." But yeah, they nod and say thank you.
You're welcome, and I do mean it. And she flashes the three fingers at them and goes, I'll do the best in my power to research how to get essentially a demon exercise from you. I mean, it's not that that's unprecedented, you know.
No. No, not really. Like, we'll have to keep them on call because, knowing me, it'll happen again.
Yes. No, I do genuinely believe that is true. Yeah. No, this is a
Fish is
procedure
like,
we will
haha,
get.
this is a funny thing. And Kel is like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No.
This is not
Yeah.
the first.
No.
Won't be the last.
I mean, she'll go, oh yeah, it's gonna happen again. She goes, I mean, you already got pretty close with demonic-like entities in Korea, so
Look, I wasn't the only one. Like, did you see the way that she and May were breathing the same air? Like, come on, like you gotta admit that that's also a little bit unprofessional.
no, I hated the entire thing. I hope I never see that woman again. And yeah, you're not
I
like
don't think she
secretly still
liked you
talking to
either.
her. No, of course, we hate each other. You're not secretly still speaking with her, right?
No.
Absolutely
Good.
no evidence of that.
Yeah.
We hated each other. What? Okay, sure.
Well, good. No, I'm glad to know that you are not. You're. I don't know, self-preservation skills. See them there. You don't have to be so concerned about what happened with Jonas. You learned from your mistakes, and you didn't make any more deals with demons. So there you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I stopped smoking.
You did, and I appreciate that. And again, not maybe the person I would have wanted you to sell your soul to, but at least it was only a little bit. And as you said, you're not speaking to her anymore. So I guess a transaction finished with a good end result. So that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, obviously we're busy here with vampire shit. Also, I think the kid could be in on it. You saw the kid, right?
No,
Respirator, the kid. There's a
no.
kid. Yeah, the kid's in on it.
Mm.
Does not elaborate.
There's a child. He's the killer.
And all right, yeah, okay, we'll work this shit out, and then you help me be friends with May again. Yep, that'll be great. Thanks. All right, and
Fish, you don't need my help to be friends with anyone. I am, if anything, a deterrent. No, I'll just, make sure that she understands that you're being genuine. If you do the tone where you are trying really hard to be genuine, but then it comes off as sort of sarcastic, I'll clarify.
oh, like the one that I've been doing now.
Yes.
Mm.
I've learned that if I just take everything at the same level as incredibly apprehensive, I usually don't get too burned by it.
All right.
Well,
So,
any other?
send in here. What happened here?
What? Sorry, what did you say?
They are abruptly changing the topic to back to work. To what? So what happened in here? What was the attack?
So is that anything Cal's going to be picking up with her like? So with her Destin, she was getting mostly just like hospital energy, right?
Yes. You are a little bit farther into the into the hospital now. You're farther away from the emergency room. The emergency room is now kind of out of your range. When you do a death sense, you can feel that somebody did die in this room fairly recently, and that it was a violent death. Your room is one of the last ones that was attacked, which means it was not cleaned up as much. It's a lot more fucked up. And I think because there's two of you together, you would be doing an investigation check with advantage, but because you're also having a very intense conversation instead of like really looking through everything, it's disadvantage, so it cancels out to flat. So one of you roll me an investigation check. And I think right before the subject change, as you're getting, really emotional, you hear from Kekino psychically.
Dad, what did you say your smell was when we were out in the woods a whole bunch and you hadn't showered?
Musky.
That was it. Yeah, musk is a good word. May wanted to know. Bye.
You're welcome.
Also, I hear what's going on. Good job.
Oh, total throwaway line, but I want to have it in there anyway. Like, by the way, you're doing the like the cute, unassuming lady thing better than Kalua.
Then Cal goes, I would think so, seeing as she just comes off as chirpy and annoying and obnoxious.
Yeah, definitely not you.
No. I don't even think I know how to be chirpy.
All right, who's rolling investigation?
I have a decent investigation. Beep, 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 beep. I have a +3.
+4.
Okay, go ahead. Cal's just being emotional support.
Oh, that's
I
a
mean,
bad. They're too
You are all
busy.
kind of like looking and then stopping and talking and then looking at stuff and then stopping and talking. So this is both of you, but you're not really like totally focusing on it.
Yeah, Fish is too busy thinking like, alone time with Cal because that's a fucking 6 again.
Okay. Yeah. You see that there are there are a couple beds in this room. This is a bit of a larger room than the one May got. The bed you're looking at, where Cal senses death, is there's a bunch of like slices in the mattress that are kind of tinged pink, and there's no sheets. So it seems like probably somebody died here. They really bled out. The mattress got really fucked up, and somebody kind of tried to clean it, and it didn't quite take before they like abandoned the hospital. So somebody seems like they were slashed up really in their bed. A 6, I don't think is enough to be like, and then where's the vents compared to this? Let's check the vents. But that's kind of what you get. Is you get like a flurry of slashes cutting into the mattress.
Knives. Cat claws.
Big cat.
Big
Big
cat.
cat here. Chinese ninjas. An impossibility, yes. Racist, yes.
Yes.
Chinese
Wolverine.
ninjas are being racist. Yes, this is Wolverine, but in China instead of Japan.
It's all coming together.
All coming together.
I don't know if you had anything in, because I have a last note I wanted to do before they would like meet back up with May.
You go.
Okay, then I'd say before they like kind of get back into like meeting up their meetup spot with May, or like back in her earshot, she goes, "So, any other deep dark secrets you're keeping from May?"
I was Howard the whole time.
That would be so in this. So you got like plastic surgery, or one of those those mages that can change your appearance and keep that permanent?
I don't know. I just was. It was the
Oh,
first
you
thing I could
also
come up with.
Oh, so you also have amnesia.
Yes. Oh
I
fuck,
think-
that's the one.
I think this point is when you hear footsteps in the hallway and May's coming in like, they're in the vents!
Okay, but like footsteps in the hallway. Oh fuck, that's her. Okay, don't tell her that I left her at the aisle. Fish has been told multiple
already left
times that this is not how the story went, but
Yes.
it's what that
What
they've
Fish has
chosen.
internalized, and what Fish has internalized is what matters. Yes.
While
I
Fish is
wonder
turning
why.
away.
It's not like, perhaps that may have happened already in their own life.
Probably, yeah.
While Fish is turning away, and she's like, "I thought you left a different kind of aisle."
Listen, the dog race has got to her head. I couldn't stay around for that.
She was all in. It was all dog racing. She bought a bunch
Cal
of
was just
breed
being-
books.
Cal was being mean and funny, and it's just like, that's not even a joke I know how to like banter back with. Like,
As May
what a
busts
weird
into the room.
turn.
As May busts into the room, and Kekno is like, haha, oh snap! I didn't hear what anyone said. I was just going off tone.
And you were right.
Hey guys, we're back.
They're in the
The
vents.
moment they enter in the room, May wants to do an investigation on the vents.
Give me an investigation roll. Just
They're in a fight. Cal's like, oh,
Okay.
okay.
She's like, they're fucking talking to me. I'm on a mission. Sorry, move to there again. Nice. That's my investigation now. Okay, yeah, that's a dirty 25.
With a dirty 25, you are checking the vents. You find that another vent has been busted open, but at rest looks like it is closed, and it is right by this bed. You see scratches in the vents, but there's not like tons and tons of blood. There's a couple traces, but not as severely. And this person probably bled more because they were a death, if you get the report from the others,
Mm.
which means that like maybe it hung around here for a while and like cleaned its claws instead of like running away necessarily. And with a 25, I think you also like look at the wall and it's like the vent is not like super high, but you had to stand on a chair to get Kekino up there. Nobody in your party is tall enough to like reach up there and even kind of like get a hand on the ledge. But there's no like claw marks of something like climbing up and down on the wall from the vents. So maybe it's like just a big long boy that just kind of like sloops out and sloops back in. Dunno.
Yeah, May picks up Captain and is like, darling, are you ready for round 2?
Round
Round
two
two?
is in defense. Yes, I
Yeah,
can
let's
do
do
it.
it. Lift him up.
Detective Kekno is on the case. Detective Special Agent Archaeologist Kekno.
Yeah, he goes in.
And Grand Mage. Don't forget. He's
And Grand Mage.
already in the vents. Don't forget you're a Grand Mage.
He's doing this, and he's like, Cal's like, okay, I don't particularly care that he's listing everyone's career but mine.
Wow. Shit, that is a 22 for Kekno.
Yeah.
on
Bogus.
his vent
May and
smell.
Kekino. May and Kekino.
Kekno is like, Dad likes to play this game called Among Us, where we do vet stuff. It's giving me the expertise. He had this thing where he's like, we're going to play a game, and you go into vents, and on the other side of the vents, there is a bunch of people with a bunch of money, and they're making sports bets, and you're going to tell me what the odds they're coming up with are, okay? And this is called Among Us. You go, okay.
Yeah. I can know which dog is the fastest
Which
dog.
dog is the favorite?
What does it
Kekino.
look like?
Bite all of the dogs.
Bite all of the dogs.
Poison their food. Make them have to poop real bad.
Yeah, with a 22, Kekino goes,
Woo, it smells really good here. It's really strong. It's the musky, not person, not animal smell. And it smells close. I think I can.
and he kind of like wiggles in a little bit out of your arm.
I think it's close. Oh, Yeah.
May like holding on to like, no, I'm back.
Yeah, man, I think it came through here and it was a lot fresher, I think.
How much fresher? Are we talking a couple of days, Kakano?
It's very fresh. I think a couple of days, maybe.
All right, back down you go. Immediately climbs out and turns to them and is like, so the hospital may have an infestation problem.
Not like a
Um,
virus.
No, more along the lines of something with extremely long clawed arms attacking from the vent system successfully. So let's
it
back
could
away from
be
the
a virus.
vents.
It could be a virus. Do
Ooh.
viruses have big long claws and smell like not people, not animals?
Pretty sure they can.
Okay, well, good thing it could be a virus, man. You don't know.
May points out like the lack of claw marks for the fact that it successfully killed something in here and clearly came from the vent. Basically, like it's moving through the vents. So at nighttime, let's steer clear of those.
Fish would suggest fucking blocking them all, sealing them up.
You certainly could start to try to do that. There is a lot, and you
Yeah.
know that the whatever it is has enough strength to like break open the vents. So you'd need something stronger than what was already holding it closed. You need some materials. You know, May might be able to be like, well, we'll check out of here. We'll go to a welding shop. I'll pick up some scrap metal. We'll just seal all these closed or something. But it's going to be a project. You can't just do
Yeah,
it. And there
not
is
hundreds
a
of vents.
lot of vents. There is you're looking in this room. This is a room with 3 beds. There are 6 vents in here.
Yeah.
They're all fairly small, which is why you need a lot of them. But you need good airflow in a hospital.
May is going. Here's what May thinks as they're like, I presume, walking along to the next attack site. Over, she's like, "How about we set up some bait?"
We don't know what this creature wants.
Clams.
Well, it wants people. It wants people.
Cal takes it seriously for a second and is like, Clint, not everybody wants clams, my love.
Are you sure? I think that would be good bait. It'd be good for me. I would find clams.
I don't particularly care for clams.
Collisionist.
Kakano, we've been over this. When someone doesn't like a thing that you like, it means there's more for
It's
you.
Yes, and I don't take it personally because it means I get to have more. I
Yes.
know. Thank you, Dad. It's just
Yes.
you know, I get it gets me going. You know, people don't like
I know.
clams.
I know, Danya, you shouldn't
Crazy
have
to
fucking
me.
said that. He was about to hate you forever.
I couldn't hate Collisionist forever. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, you can hate it for a little while though.
No, I don't think so.
Cal with a flash of anxiety. Is there anything I could say to make you hate me forever? Or you hate me for a long while?
I really
you
don't
could-
like clams.
You could say, Kekino, I don't want to see you ever again. You cannot spend time with me. We are not sharing custody, and we cannot go to the temple. Don't say that, Collisionist. He just immediately starts crying as he made himself sad.
Yeah,
You're
Cal
like,
going, no, no,
Kekino,
no,
what's
no,
the worst thing I could say? And he says it and then just immediately starts crying.
Picks him up, starts like kissing him. No, 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 I would do that. If I ever said anything like that, I just want you to know I would only be saying it to keep you safe, and it would be a complete lie.
But then you would lie to me, and lies are still bad, man. They're not as bad as the truth when you say something hurtful, but it's still not good. And what if you change your mind
Change my mind on what?
about not wanting me around? What if you say things like what I just said?
I would never. No, 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 no.
Everybody's probably like,
Fish in the-
distraction. Find another room. Let's go. Let's get Kekino out of this mindset.
Yeah, Fish just pats him while he's still in Cal's arms. It's not like that they don't care, but they're like, yeah, mate. So what's the plan? What do you think we're gonna do?
This is just every other day. Fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
May's
he's
like,
just having a thing. Don't worry. He
He's fine.
loves her. So
Sometimes you just gotta cry it out.
Sometimes you just have to cry because Cal hasn't kissed you in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a shame.
it's a whole thing.
The whole thing.
yeah, May is like, let's keep exploring. But it's already like, right, so if I act as bait, because no offense to either of you, but I can take more of a hit, and I'm not a healer. So if you guys are waiting in the wings, and it grabs me, and then we can subdue it, and hopefully I don't die. Yeah.
Oh, it's May. We won't let you fucking die. Okay.
Yes, I know, but in the moment, who knows what's going to happen? But then once we have it, well, problem solved.
Yeah.
And we are in a
and
hospital already, so
it's true. We can literally take you back down to the emergency room.
exactly, yes.
Speaking of which, did you see the fucking kid?
I mean, I
think-
saw children.
Yeah, with your perception check, it was like there's some adults, there's some kind of younger kids here in the hospital. I think there was one kid that was like 5. I was like, that's young to be in an emergency room. How sad. Moving on.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll tell you about it later. But like, this kid was gonna be like the next fucking. I'm so sorry. Ink has forgotten what's the next Merlin. That's what the next Merlin.
why?
Just real strong vibes. I can see it.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna take care of the thing that's not the vampire, and they'll be happy it's not a vampire, right?
Well, if we don't know, all we know is that it's got a really long arm span.
Yeah, vampires don't have long arms.
Not typically. Maybe, but I was thinking of like all the European vampire fucking weird, fucked up pages
Yeah.
and stuff like.
Looking for a
thanks for
vampire
rotting.
with Marfan syndrome. He's got that wingspan.
Yeah, otherwise May will push on to the next attack site, making the way to the admin office.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's the next floor up. I think we can, if you want to get to the admin stuff, we can probably just abstract. And does May flip through the eyewitness testimony and kind of compare to like the
Oh, yeah, for sure.
attacks and stuff? It seems like the common theme is like I woke up and there was like a monster above me and I was in intense pain. But there are a couple people who are like, I woke up because something was attacking me and I never saw it. And then the doctors like brought me back to consciousness after I lost so much blood. And it's like I wasn't actually a witness. The attack just happened to me. So as you're comparing these 2 rooms, give me a investigation check with advantage. Anybody.
I'll
And
do
we'll
it because
just
mine's like an 8.
and we'll see what you glean from the other rooms.
Advantage come through for me.
Regarding the
Could be worse.
eyewitness testimony, Fish is like, "Oh, then yeah, you told me about that. It's called like a sleep paralysis."
Yeah, it's a sleep paralysis demon, and it cuts you. There is also one eyewitness testimony that is like, I saw the creature in the hallway, and that's where like the artist rendition is. That's just like eyes in the
Eyes.
darkness. Yeah,
The Christmas tree.
eyes in the darkness, kind of like a shape of a person, vaguely. And it's like, yeah, this is worthless to me. Okay.
May got a 16.
Okay. With a 16, searching the rest of the rooms, you don't get a ton of new information. You do find that one room that did not have an attack in it, but it was like next to a room that had an attack, had the vent like fully like ripped out of the wall. So it's like, oh, something like came out here and there like wasn't a victim, so it went back in or something. But yes, more and more evidence that it is in the vents and not coming through the doors. You're checking these notes. Most of these attacks happened in like locked rooms where there was no normal way in or out. So you're like, yep, definitely attacking from the uh, vents. What is Edward Toombs from X Files? It sounds so familiar to me. I watched X Files.
It's like it's the probably episode of X Files season 1. It's this guy who can like stretch his body and he basically like elongates himself and hops through the vents. It's nasty. He has like a den made of bile. Like, yeah.
Ugh.
Stinky, stinky.
Oh, gross. Also, weirdly similar to what's happening here.
I was gonna say, Patrick, this sounds like you subconsciously borrowed it.
I mean, maybe. I did really like X-Files season 1. I watched it a long time ago.
It's a strong season. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot more evidence is in the vents. Also, with a 16, I say you're getting more of a sense of like how the vent layout is. There's you're getting a lot of like up and down passages as well, and I think you're like, you know, maybe there's like an air exchange or wherever the filters is. Maybe that could be a den, so it has easy access to the vents. You know, you don't necessarily remember from the layout exactly where that would be, but you're like, okay, well, you know, it's probably on the first floor. You know, we'll find a utility closet or something like that. But you're getting more of the sense of like, it may genuinely almost never leave the vents, and it may be like still here and just nocturnal.
Having a little sleep. Yeah.
Rather than like it's coming back to the hospital at night. Although you did see a couple like air exchanger vents on the outside. It's possible it's leaving and coming back, but I think you, with a 16, put that down as less likely. But yes, as you're going through the floors, you clear the second floor where there was another death. The third and the fourth floor are left. The third floor, in addition to normal rooms, has the blood bank and the passageway to the sorceress hospital, and the fourth floor has the administrative offices for the pharmaceutical company, as well as the infectious diseases like wing that takes up a big chunk of that floor. And as you're going through, 16 is not great, but you have rolled so high on the other investigation checks. I think as you're going back and forth between the notes and the attacks, you realize that like the attacks are fully random. You're not seeing any pattern about like where they're happening or what they're happening. There is not a single attack in the infectious disease wing, and the like space wise, that would be the largest space in the hospital where there had not been an attack. Like it's not totally out of the realm of possibility it happened by chance, but it might not have. Yeah, as you're
I'm gonna have to go take a look there, obviously.
heading up into the hospital. As you have been searching, you've noticed that the sun is starting to go down. It's not quite nighttime yet, but it is dusk, and the spaces in the hospital are getting darker and darker. Where do you want to explore next?
I fear that we're going to get sprung. We can always come back to the hospital later. Okay, you know what? May, seeing that it's dark, would be like, okay, let's hold off on the admin until tomorrow. Because it's not going anywhere, we can come back.
It's not quite dark yet. It's like you wouldn't consider it night, you would consider it dusk. There's still like at least half an hour of light left for the day. You're like, it's that kind of thing of being like, all the attacks have happened at night. I can look at the things and be like, okay, it was like full dark So you can take the chance of being like, well, maybe it'll come out early today and be a threat to us, or maybe it's like this is the last thing we can do before we want to leave, unless we want to be confronting this thing.
If we have time for one more thing, then the admin stuff. But otherwise, maybe be like, okay, no, let's like figure out how we're gonna take this thing down.
Okay.
Sorry, capture it.
Since it is starting to get dark, I'll just put in a little bit more background music. As you head up to the 4th floor, you do a really quick glance through the 3rd, check out the attack sites there, but you don't go into the sorceress hospital or the blood bank at all. You head up to the 4th floor. Other than the infectious diseases wing, there's not like hospital real estate here. This is like janitor's closets, administrative offices, private doctor's offices for notes, things like that, storage for chemicals. And as you search in, find a administrator's office, there is what looks like it's a very classic like glass front door with a sign on it. You can see where like a previous sign has been scraped off, and the name Bayutsu Pharmaceuticals has been painted on instead when they took over the hospital. When you get there, you have keys to this hospital, and your keys don't work. They don't work in this door. They give you keys to the entire place except seemingly the where the administration is, which is interesting. Also, remember, I did actually use the Shepherd's Stone in the Ruins arc. When,
Remember?
Yeah. Love that.
Does Fish have lock picking, or am I misremembering?
I
think
think
Fish
so.
has,
I think they do.
I think Fish has forgery kit.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's forgery. Sorry. Yep.
Okay. I was like, I know it's something thieving related, but I wasn't sure.
Forgery and calligraphy.
Fish does have a ability that could get them through a locked door without disturbing it, or you punch a hole in the
they're
glass.
saving it. They're saving it.
No, absolutely. I'm
maybe-
reminding you. This is not in character. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm reminding you that is a thing. But yes, you have keys. You have
May's got
you have
look.
keys that don't work. You've got a fist that could punch through the glass and hopefully unlock it from the inside. You could try and find something to pick it, but yeah.
May has her magical tools. Surely one of them is a screwdriver. Is the lock? It's the 50s. Is the lock on this door not like, or like the panel where the door handle is pretty fucking minimal?
You take a look at it. I don't think May is an expert in locks, but
No, of course not. But
it looks weirdly beefy.
okay.
The mechanism is probably a little bit simpler than we would get in the future with like higher machining tolerances, but it looks like not a normal door lock for an interior hollow core door inside a hospital. It looks like almost like a security lock.
Is the floor of the hospital, is it like concrete or is it wood or?
This is tile.
I mean, tile's a type of it has stone.
Yeah, tile's the type of stone.
Yeah, my thing was basically going to use mold earth to like knock the door or like slowly lift it enough that it kind of fucks with it, so they can kind of push it open. Yeah.
Okay. Give me I will say an Arcana or proficient tools check, like the equivalent.
Gonna
of
do
like
proficient
a machinery
tools.
check,
Yeah.
to be like do the right amount of force to like get this door open without like permanently fucking it up.
Yeah.
While she's doing that, Fish goes, okay, hold on, let me just warm up a bit. Okay, I'll be right back. and then they go, and then they leave, and you see that they open one of the closet doors and walk in and shut the door.
I got an 11, but you know what? I'm going to use Flash of Genius, which bumps it up to a 15.
Okay. With a 15, there is a squeal as the metal of the door like twists and contorts as you're essentially trying to pop it off its hinges. Finally, it pops open. It has a really bad squeak now, and it is pretty. It's pretty obvious, like metal is scraping against metal, that it has been messed up in some way. Maybe someone won't notice. Maybe they will.
I mean, hey, you know what? Doesn't mean it with us. Anyway, May goes in, with an eye on the vent, and starts rifling through anything that looks vaguely of use.
Okay.
And recording with Cat the entire time.
Fist opens up the closet, sticks their head out, and says to Cal, "Oh, did she do it?"
Oh, did she do it?
Can I save my spell
Yes.
points?
Go be useful.
Dad, we're already inside.
Closes the closet door again. No, comes out.
As you look around the office, there is kind of like an open plan, kind of bullpen office with a bunch of desks, and then a bunch of smaller side rooms that are like personal offices. As you're rifling through a bunch of
Hang on, sorry. A bunch of side offices, you said?
Mhm.
Which one is the furthest away from the office? Because that's most likely to be the head person's office, and May's going to go right there.
Okay. Give me a perception check, actually, and we'll
Sure.
consider this just kind of like rifling through papers that are out, as well as looking at the room.
Okay, that is a 17.
Okay. With a 17, at the end of this little room, there are two offices that look a little bit bigger than the others. One is has a little placard that's the director of the hospital. The other one has Bayutu Medical Group Liaison, and it has like 3 locks on it.
Oh yeah, that one. Go, let's do it.
Both of them are good places to search, and as you're going through the room, you're seeing a lot of like normal hospital records and financial documents and things. A lot of things that were left out, as if this place was kind of abandoned in a hurry, in a way. But nothing that immediately catches your eye as important. One of the actual side offices is like a file room, which seems locked as well. And you head down the hall and find this very locked door. And this is no glass front, jiggle a handle, try the keys, nothing works, knock on it, solid.
Okay.
Okay then. All right. Fine.
It's like at the
Fish is
door.
like, I didn't want to have to do this, but... And then Blasphemous starts to, like, blow the door off.
Yeah, exactly that. I didn't want to have to do this, but Stone Fist, bam! Just like, alright. And because, like, they really, when they first show... They planned for when they first showed off this new spell to everyone, it was gonna be, like, they wanted it to be a special thing. That's why they've been standing in all the fucking cupboards.
I will say, the layout of this room, you could leave this office, go in that janitor's closet, and then...
Okay,
Open the door
alright.
from the inside, yeah.
Okay, here's what Fish does. They go, take off their suit jacket and, like, give it to someone to hold. Neither of the ladies take it. It just falls on the floor.
It
They
falls
go-
on Kekno, and he's like,
Yeah.
dark.
I'm a
No,
businessman.
how can prevent it from getting wrinkled? She'd mage hand it before it hits the floor.
Grab it, vertical fold, and put it over a chair.
Yeah.
They go,
100%.
alright, I'm going back to the cupboard.
Good luck,
I'll
Dad.
be right back. And so they go, and in the cupboard, Cast the spell.
Give me a d20 roll.
Thank you. Let me just get it. Oh yeah, that's a 15.
Fish walks out of the room, and you are all probably looking at each other going, why the fuck do they keep going in closets? And as you are wondering that, Cal is folding the coat. All the locks in the door in front of you undo, the door opens, and Fish is standing inside.
And they open it up and they go, "Hey."
I don't suppose you want to explain how?
No.
Magic, obviously, but
It's because he's so cool.
Because I'm so
right.
cool.
Is it like a breaking of connections of the
That's where
what
he's-
is it's not like the gears of a lock, right? What is it? The chambers?
Tumblers?
Yeah, Cal's
That's
smarter
like
than me. It
lock.
should be like the tumblers of the lock or
And Fizz just looks disappointed that no one like this was it. I was like,
Dad, it was really cool. I think it would be cooler if it didn't only work in janitor's closets, but it's very cool.
yeah. Everyone get in here.
May
As-
is rifling.
Yeah. As you get in, this is not a office in the way you think of an office, because there is a small desk shoved off to the side, and the rest of it is filled with paperwork and file cabinets and little bits and bobs. There is, in fact, no air vent in here.
Oh,
because
good.
it
We're safe.
is a security concern. Bless you, Ink.
Yeah, I don't think they knew how much of a concern when they built the place. Yeah.
If you just based on like your passive perception, it looks like there was a vent here and somebody ripped it out of the wall and like welded it closed
Ooh.
and repaired the
Really?
wall. They're like, there
Yeah.
is no way to get into this room. This is a secure room. As you
Right.
probably get inside, you see that like the door is like steel faced, of being like it's reinforced.
Nice. Good shit.
As you get in, I want 2 people to make investigation checks for me, and that'll act as advantage, or medicine checks.
I don't like that. I mean, I'm happy to do investigation again.
You're going on doorknob. Hi. Nope, you're not coming in? Okay, you just want to play with my
I'll
door.
do a medicine check for my fucking self.
Are you doing okay? Do you need to wrap up soon?
No, I'm okay. I just am full of
Mucus.
snot. Yeah.
Well, I haven't rolled anything in a while, so I'll do a medicine
Yeah.
for funsies. Nope, that failed. Where did my dice go? It's probably in bed. I don't have a lot of surface area. Cool. That's a 9 for medicine.
All right, not particularly high. And investigation check.
On, baby. I need to know what is going the fuck on.
Brief bit of levity first. Kekano has fully calmed down and back in Fish's arms. He's just like, Cal says that she's gonna love me forever and ever, and it's
That's
everything's
true. She
gonna be
wouldn't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
No,
wouldn't
I mean,
lie to
forever.
me, unlike you,
No.
Dad.
Yeah. Collagenist does not tell lies. I know that you like to tell lies because it's funny, but Collagenist does not tell lies. I think she doesn't think it's funny, which is kind of weird, but
Takes all kinds to make a world, buddy.
yeah.
What was that investigation check?
Dirty 21.
Okay. As you're searching through files, they are all written in Chinese. So
I mean,
you are going You're gonna have to pass them to Fish to translate.
Hang
for
on.
you, but you...
No, I'm just going to scan them with Cat, and then I can comprehend language later.
Okay, sure.
It's not waste time, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't want to know them right this moment, that is probably the most efficient way to get through this information. You are rifling through the drawers. There's a couple of them with diagrams. Cal takes a look at those, and they're anatomical diagrams, but not necessarily of humans. They're a little abstract, kind of in an old, like, calligraphy style in a way, but the proportions are a little bit wrong. It's like this could be human anatomy for someone who doesn't know how to do technical drawings, or it could be non-human anatomy from someone who doesn't know how to do technical drawings. As you are quickly searching through, scanning through everything, looking through documents, none of it seems very concerning in a way, but with a 21 you find the false bottom to the file cabinet, to the files hidden underneath in the base of the cabinet, and these are strange. Many of them are modern paper with Chinese on them. Some of them are older, much older. An old, rough paper, clearly handmade. A script that looks like it could be Chinese, but perhaps a more ancient version of it. And among them, a lot more diagrams. Diagrams of anatomy, diagrams of pieces of animals and pieces of humans, detailed pictures of like an arm with this flesh stripped off, things that Cal would look at and be like, oh yeah, no, this is exactly like we studied in the catacombs. Not at all. Everybody else is like, ugh. I think with Cal's, what was it, 8 in medicine?
9.
9 in medicine. I think you get the sense that regardless of this person, whoever is making this, and you do think it is in the same hands, ability to draw notwithstanding, their anatomical knowledge is very impressive. Somebody very experienced in this. And
is there a name? Sorry, is there like a name plaque, whatever they're called?
In this room, there is not a little plaque. It does genuinely seem like while this was an office, it was not an office that anyone ever went into for any reason other than the owner of this office.
Okay.
It does not have a friendly or welcoming environment. With that, I think you get all of these documents, you get them all scanned, and you find the switch under the top of the desk.
Well, no time like the present.
Is it the new one that hasn't come out yet?
It is the Switch 2. You pull it out and you go, these handles are going to snap immediately.
Is the desk like heavy? Like, sorry, let me rephrase. Is there any way something could be filling underneath the floor up into the desk? Like,
the desk is like pushed against a wall.
okay.
In the kind of way of being like, yeah, this is not like a welcoming environment for meetings. This is a small hole for someone to work in. And as you're like, could something be behind this desk? Could this desk be moved? You realize the desk is bolted to the ground.
Well,
Fun.
now we gotta. May turns to the others, points out the switch, and says, "Well, I mean, we are here."
You were correct. We are here.
Yeah, Cal's
are
like,
here.
that is a correct fact.
We are
Now,
here.
should we be doing this here now? Without your gun?
How dark is it now?
I think it is not yet the time when the attacks happened, but I think the sun is down and it is.
Yeah. So we gotta leave now,
It
basically.
is night. I mean, you can flip the switch and see what's behind there and take the chance, but or just to stay here and try to hunt this thing through.
Look, May is up for flipping that switch, but how do you guys feel as players?
I like it, but it's like,
yeah,
watch
no,
out.
I just have a cautious character who'd be
Yeah.
like,
What are you doing? Yeah. Does Hal still have the whip?
yeah.
Yeah, cool. May is going to have.
She's been wearing it as a boa.
May is going to ready in. Can May ready in action? If she's ready for something to go terribly wrong.
You got to tell
Yeah.
me what the action is.
Yeah. She's going to use information overload if anything
Okay.
jumps out at her.
Readying information overload if anything comes.
Yeah, and she's going to flip the switch.
As you reach out to flip.
Oh,
the
sorry, and
switch-
also, Pat is passively recording in case they do see it.
Okay. As you reach out to flip the switch, it's quiet as you wait in preparation. You start hearing snapping, clomping footsteps out in the hallway outside. Someone else is here, maybe a couple of someones, back out the way you came in. And as you flip the switch, door slides open. The entire wall here pivoting on a hinge as it opens up into, May knows from the map, what should be the infectious diseases wing. As it slides back, there's a sound. Something clicking, rapidly moving away from you in the darkness. And you look in, hold the whip. Something moving in front of you, but away, out of sight, and something, maybe people moving behind you in the hallway, maybe coming towards this office. And you look in and see a lab. Bubbling vats, canisters of unknown gases, surgical table covered in blood. And that is where I think I would like to end tonight's session of Well-Dressed Bones.
Spooky.
Next time, we have our party caught between a rock and a hard place. There is something in there's something in front of you. There's something behind you, and while I can go longer, I think it's fun to have a cliffhanger.
I enjoy it very much. Holy shit.
And with that, we will end our session. Anything else that we want to get on the recording before we finish? Ellie, angrily
Nothing that can be
shaking her
said
head.
in polite company.
Craig isn't polite company.
Yeah.
I meant
Craig
Holly.
Okay. Goodbye, Craig, and we will see you next time. Duck.